Check, check, 1, 2. Check, check. Am I receiving level? Check, check. hold on 1 second. Five, four, three, two, one.
And hello everyone! We would like to welcome you today to the Tufts versus MIT swim meet on January 25th, 2020 with our commentators Cougar Hansen on play-by-play.
Oh my god, I just picked the track out. It should be working now. Testing. I still can't hear anything. Maybe you need to turn the volume on. I don't know. Okay, just keep going as if it is working, alright? Okay.
Our first event here today is the 200-yard medley relay. Ethan, how are you doing today?
Doing fantastic. I like the energy that we saw here. And this is bound to be a very competitive meet between these two Division III powerhouses here. It's not the first time they're meeting. as earlier in the season for the last meet of the semester, they swam at the MIT Invitational. And it was very competitive between the two.
And here we have a relatively close match in this first heat. Everybody coming in at roughly the same time, with Tufts having a slight lead in lane 4. And now on to the butterfly. We have breaststroke, excuse me.
Oh, sorry.
It's very close to this turnaround.
Wait, did you say it was, did you ask me? Oh, okay. I can't hear anything now.
As we have Tufts moving to a slight lead in lane 2, as MIT is struggling to keep up. And that is a great start in lane 4 from Tufts. That's going to be Brooke Bernstein versus lane 2, the third leg from Tufts, Catherine Sweetser. As you could just see how Brooke Bernstein, the senior today, is able to keep ahead. And now for the fourth leg, Tufts has a slight lead over the other Tufts swimmer in lane 2. As they reach the turnaround, that's going to be Emma Seymour, Hannah Truslow in lane 2, the senior, versus Chloe Davini, the freshman. The senior versus freshman battle. Let's see who wins this. And it looks like it's going to be lane 2 for Tufts. Hannah Truslow getting that win for her relay team over Chloe Davini.
And it appears that Tufts took the whole podium there. As we saw in lane 6, the Tufts freestyler catch up to the MITA relay.
And now we have the main heat of the 200-yard medley relay, where you will have, starting from your right in lane 1, MIT C team, Tufts' B team in lane 2, the MIT A team in lane 3. In lane 4, you have the Tufts A team. Lane 5, you have the MIT B team. And in lane 6, on your left, will be the Tufts C team.
As we really saw last meet, Tufts likes to take those first heats as exhibition. But this one will be very competitive, as we saw at the MIT Invitational.
Tufts women are ranked higher than MIT today, but it's definitely going to be a close meet, one of the closest for Tufts so far, as we are off to an exciting start here. With it looks like we have a slight lead in lane 4 for Tufts. That's going to be Emma Dotchney that first leg, as MIT is gaining back that lead in lane 3.
MIT and Tufts A relays matching each other stroke for stroke as they complete the backstroke and head into the breaststroke here. As Tufts falls slightly behind MIT in the first turn of the breaststroke.
As you can see, Emma Dotchney for MIT with that slight lead. Edna Chen, the freshman, able to expand that lead for her team. As MIT has a pretty resounding lead at this point, it's going to be hard for Tufts to make that back up. But the battle for second is a three-way tie right now between the two Tufts team and MIT's B team. But that third leg for Tufts, you can see her really doing well, or for MIT, Olivia McGrath.
Lanes 2, 4, and 5 really match each other stroke for stroke as we head into this final leg here.
Of course, the freestyle, one of the most exciting legs in the pool to watch, as everybody is just giving it their all for this. So they get to the turnaround, and it looks like MIT is going to take it. But Tufts is spending a lot of time underwater here. Let's see if they can use that to our advantage. But it looks like MIT is going to get the win in 1 minute and 47 seconds, .17. MIT also takes second for their B team in 1:48.89, and Tufts gets third in 1:49.28. and a very exciting first relay.
Would you mind, is it possible just so my mom can watch the next race and then you can go back? My son's almost 3 races. Just a little bit.
Are you guys moving out of the way?
Yeah. Wait, there's like no volume in my headphones.
And here we have the men's 200 relay, the first heat here. And starting off for the men, we have Tufts in lane 2, MIT in lane 3, Tufts in lane 4, and Tufts also in lane 6. As they're starting off, that's going to be lane 4 for Tufts, getting off to a pretty resounding lead. As he gets the turnaround, turns around, he's able to spend a lot of time underwater. But we have lane 2 also doing well for Tufts, as it's a pretty close race so far. All swimmers within a stroke of each other.
We're seeing again Tufts dominating this first heat.
As the 3 Tufts swimmers are roughly all in line, while the MIT swimmer is lagging a little bit behind here. But it appears lane 2 for Tufts is currently winning. But here in lane 4, we have Noah Zhang, the junior.
It didn't appear any ground was lost for MIT between the backstroke and the breaststroke. And that ground is maintained here as we finish up the butterfly.
But you can see on that butterfly for both races, just the amount of ground that's being gained. But here for this freestyle, for this final leg, you can see how close it's getting. As the Tufts swimmers really, everybody's giving it their all here, but it's just who can win this thing. And it's going to be lane 4 for Tufts to get the win in 1 minute and 37 seconds. Lane 2 for Tufts coming in second with 1:38.49. And third place goes to MIT with 1:38.97. A relatively close race today. And you're going to see a lot of this today, aren't you, Ethan? A lot of close races.
Indeed, and both teams right now are getting super hyped up for this 200 medley relay final heat. It's a big one, a lot of points at stake here.
This is Tufts senior night, so Tufts A team currently has 3 seniors on it, and so you are looking for them to do well today to impress the fans, as there is a large contingent of fans currently cheering on these jumbos and the engineers today. As starting off in Tufts A team, you have Nate Tingen versus MIT James Richardson. Just turn it. And here we have Tufts off to a strong start here in lane 4. As everybody is super excited to watch this race. And here's MIT has a slight lead in lane 3 as we move on to the second leg.
The 2A relays there took off at the same time, but it looks like MIT off the streamline has a slight edge over Tufts in lane 5, or lane 4, excuse me.
You can feel the atmosphere at this pool is electric right now as everybody is cheering on their teams. As Tufts has a slight lead in this breaststroke as they hand it off to that third leg. As you have Costa Cameron in lane 4 for Tufts versus Buki Etzkes, the captain, in lane 3. And it appears Tufts The engineers have got their lead back. As it appears on this last leg, as you go to the freestyle, MIT has a slight lead, but you never know what could happen with this home crowd. As we get to the turnaround, you see MIT has a slight lead over Tufts, but it is so close. It's neck and neck. Who knows who's going to win? Tufts is going to win this. It's down to the wire. And Tufts wins it in a 132.18. Approximately a half-second lead over MIT with their 132.57. And in third place, MIT does get those 2 points, excuse me. And of course, every point is going to count in this dual meet. It's not just about who gets second, first. It's also about who gets third, fourth, and fifth, especially in those individual events.
We're really seeing the character and leadership of the seniors emerge in this final heat of the boys 200 medley relay.
Yeah. You have Roger Gill, of course, a senior for the Tufts, who's a definite leader on this team. And it's great to see these seniors doing so well, especially after 4 years of hard swimming. But our next event is the women's 100-yard freestyle, where you have in lane 2, Allison Kremer, lane 3, Emily Yuan, and lane 4, Suki Evans, who had a tremendous comeback in multiple of her races last meet. In lane 5, Caroline Warren, and lane 6, Allison Brea.
The winner of the women's 1,000-yard freestyle last weekend, Caitlin Isaachoff, not making an appearance here. So she's probably being saved for another important event, as she is very skilled in many events.
And right now you have a tie between lane 4, Suki Evans, and lane 2, Allison Kramer. So Ethan, what do you think Tufts needs to do to win this meet today for the women? Other than swim fast, of course.
I think it's going to take a lot of character again to be able to persevere against these MIT swimmers who are looking for revenge from the MIT Invitational, as MIT women finished runners-up to Tufts.
Yeah, some of these distance events are not necessarily the most popular events, but as in first place, you have Suki Evans still in lane 4, Allison Kramer in lane 2, and for third place, it looks like you're going to have a close match between Caroline Warren from MIT and Allison Brea from Tufts,
Sam,
both freshmen.
Program from over there?
It's always great to see freshmen coming out today,
Even on senior night.
making that transition from high school to college.
Do you know what event this is right now? Okay.
So Ethan, what do you need to do well in these type of long distance events instead of the sprinting?
So
swimming
we're
events?
only about 1/5 of the way through this 40-lap event, and the two leaders from the Jumbos right now are going to look to maintain that composure, make sure they're keeping a steady pace and not getting themselves too tired out before the end when they want to give it everything they have left.
Great take, Ethan. And it looks like right now it could be a 1-2-3 finish for Tufts. But that battle for third is something we're going to be watching very closely. But the battle for first right now with Suki Evans most likely won't be close. She has a tremendous kick in the pool when the race comes down to it. As we've seen her, at least in the last meet, make numerous comebacks. MIT ranked 8th, a very close match today.
Come on, bring it back.
Of course, these rankings don't always say everything, but once you're that close, it practically doesn't matter, because you're going to get an entertaining meet anyway.
Of course, this meet is going to come down to who wants it more. Tufts on their senior night or MIT looking to rain on the parade.
Asuki Evans off to a slight lead here over the rest of the field. The battle for third place is getting less competitive now, with Allison Brea taking a more moderate lead as we're on lap 17 here of 40. So Ethan, what kind of strategy might we be looking to see from these jumbos? Especially on these longer distance events.
Of course, maintaining their composure, making sure they stay focused on maintaining that pace. We're only approaching the halfway mark of this event, so it's important that they focus on continuing that strong start.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be entertaining to watch. Especially since some of these tough swimmers are very talented. But it looks like Tufts is going to try and get these leads, these 1, 2, 3 finishes on some of these longer events where it's going to be easier for them to finish faster and have a more convincing lead than some of these other events. Especially since some of these shorter distance events where MIT is probably stronger are going to be a little closer matched.
This event should empower the jumbos, show them that they can dominate this meet.
We'd like to take some time just to honor some of these seniors on the broadcast.
What event is
As
this?
it is
Women's
a
1,000
Tufts
yards?
senior day, or senior
Okay,
night,
thank
excuse
you.
me. For the Tufts men, we have seniors Alexander Berman, Greg Callahan, Costa Camerano, Tommy Gillespie, Tim Bronet, Roger Gu, Matt Manfrey, and Trevor Sermon. For the women, we have Brooke Bernstein, Tysa Gladkova, Grace Gaucheus, Steph Pond, and Hannah Truslow. And then for the MIT seniors, we would like to honor Delaney Burns for women, Kayla Holman, Alexandrian O'Brien, Lilia Statzel, Nanette Wu, and Blake Zhao. And then for the men, we have Book Edskis, the captain, Tim Grail, another captain, Emilio Sisson, Sam Olebecker, and Matt Wojcik.
We return to the event here, the women's 1,000-yard freestyle, as we approach the 3/4 mark, and still the lead is getting larger and larger for the Lady Jumbos.
Yeah, you can really see just how good Tufts is on some of these distance events. Even when they're not necessarily putting their best swimmers out there for all of these events and resting some of them for some of the more competitive events, they still do just so well and get those crucial points.
With an event as demanding as the 1,000-yard freestyle, it's impressive that the Lady Jumbos are able to field out maybe some of their swimmers who aren't their absolute best at this event, but still win it and save those other swimmers for other events that they need to win in order to win the meet.
Absolutely.
Depth is going to be important with these two powerhouse Division III schools.
And that's definitely something we've seen from Tufts so far, especially from some of those freshmen for the Jumbos. You can definitely see just how much depth they have on their squad, especially across a range of events. So Ethan, one thing I've noticed as an amateur swimming fan is when the lane counters go down, They sometimes shake it. Is there any kind of message, or is that just getting the swimmer excited?
Oh, yes. I was actually a card holder in my time of high school swimming when one of my friends would compete in the 500-yard freestyle. And in one of the big championship meets, he had me shake the card while looking up at the scoreboard to make sure that he was on a certain pace. And through that communication, he was able to get a best time.
That's great to hear. And it appears that lane 4, Suki Evans, is lapping the MIT swimmer in lane 3. As you can just see just how good she is. As we are getting close to the end of the race here, you still have that Tufts domination in that 1, 2, 3 positions.
I would like to add, though, most of the time, the shaking of the cards isn't for communication. It's more of to get the swimmer hyped up. Anything you can do to cheer them on, to get them to go faster is wanted.
And as we have our final lap here in this race, it appears that lane 4, Suki Evans will get the win today for the Jumbos, with lane 2 coming in second, Allison Kramer, and for lane 6 in third, Allison Brea, the freshman.
Okay.
All of them able to beat the MIT swimmers.
Big sweep here for the Lady Jumbos. That's exactly what you want to see early in this meet.
I need you to move it to the right. Left, go left, go left.
Good to get those points now while they're still available.
Absolutely. As you can see on the scoreboard, we
A
do
little
have
higher.
the score for the meet
Okay.
running. So you can follow along as the lead will most likely go back and forth for each event. But now we have the men's 1,000-yard freestyle. Starting in lane 2 for Tufts, Evan Zablowski, the freshman. In lane 3, Trevor Carter, another freshman from MIT. John Lime in lane 4 for Tufts, the junior. In lane 5, Christopher Reinard, the freshman from MIT. In lane 6, Paul Schwartz, the sophomore from Tufts.
No seniors in this event, so a lot of the young guns will be looking to step up and get some points for their team on this senior day.
Move it like literally like a millimeter to the left.
Our first leaders here, Evan Sobleski
No, to the
in
left, to the
lane
left.
2, and the swimmer from MIT in lane 3, as we have an empty lane
More.
1 here.
More. Okay, that's good. No, a little.
And that's going to be
little
lane
right,
2
little right.
off to an early lead, Evan Zablowski.
No, just keep it
It's
there.
always
I'm
hard
gonna
as a
top it
freshman
myself.
to
Just
try and
don't touch
succeed
it.
in these events, especially given the stamina and experience you need to typically do well. But we've seen some of these tough freshmen do relatively well, often getting the lead in some of these events.
The biggest thing we'll want to see is composure and maintaining that pace. It'll be tough for the Tufts freshmen and sophomores here who don't have the most experience but want to contribute to their team total points.
Absolutely, it's easy just to go out hard and then die, but it's hard to keep that energy for the entire time.
Key. Yeah.
5 laps down and we're still only 1/8 of the race in.
As Evan Zablowski off to a lead here, followed in second by Tufts junior Sean Lime, followed in lane 3 by MIT swimmer Trevor Carter, the freshman. So we could potentially have a freshman versus freshman battle here Always entertaining to watch. As both swimmers trying to prove themselves on this stage. As getting the win here for either of them would be crucial for the rest of the meet. As Tufts are winning the meet so far, 11-6.
We saw the Tufts men jump out to an early lead at the MIT Invitational. However, the next 2 days, they were overtaken by MIT for somewhat of a competitive battle. But the men will look for revenge today on their senior day.
And off to a slight lead, John the Lime, the junior. Of course, only about a fourth of the way through the race. Sometimes these leads just dissolve instantly, but sometimes you're able to build off that and really gain. And still in 4th and 5th place, respectively, you have Paul Schwartz, the sophomore from Tufts, and Christopher Reiner, the freshman from MIT.
Okay.
But it does look like Evan Zablewski is losing his lead over the fellow Tufts swimmer, John the Lime. Let's see if the Lime can use his experience that he has over the freshman to get the win here. He is in the fastest lane of the pool. But Ethan, in your opinion, how much does being in, say, lane 3 or 4 really impact the rest of your race?
I think being in the middle lanes, since the swimmers who were entered into those lanes have the fastest seed times, those are the people that you might peek towards during the race to see if you're keeping up or if you're losing ground on them. They're the ones you want to pay attention to, although perhaps you might not want to pay attention to them and just swim at your own pace, trust yourself to be going at that pace instead of worrying about the other swimmers.
Something you see more of these veteran swimmers do is just maximize their time under the water to try and gain back time. Since a lot of these swimmers may necessarily be pretty close above water, it's that time underwater that really counts.
Zableski and Lalime both with sizable leads over the MIT swimmer in lane 3 and in 3rd place. As we approach the halfway point of this men's 1,000-yard freestyle.
Yep, and there's that turn to start that 21st lap.
Zableski still with a slight edge over Lalime, but both of them building a lead over the MIT swimmer in lane 3.
Yeah, I think we're good. Look at this.
As Zablewski just maintaining that slight lead. But Lalime slowly coming back, especially on the back half of that pool. You can see them both within a few tenths of a second. But sometimes those small leads are what win meets.
Encouraging stuff from both the men and women in this 1,000-yard freestyle.
Ethan, have you ever seen somebody miscount laps in the pool during a meet?
Oh, yes, I have. I think one time last year during a much shorter event, the 200-yard freestyle, somebody stopped after 150 yards on my team.
And for such a short race, that's a little surprising.
And also, as a counter, when the swimmer I count for got a personal best by a large margin, I was almost paranoid that I miscounted as the counter.
I could definitely see being paranoid about that.
It's sometimes hard to keep track when you're worried about flipping the numbers and the swimmer is just going so fast across the pool.
As you can see, the two Tufts swimmers here swimming in near perfect harmony, as both of them are almost tied for the win. But they are matching each other stroke for stroke here. As for these final 10 laps, we're just going to see who's able to tough it out longest. But it will definitely be entertaining to watch.
I'm sure Lalime and Zableski know that they're pushing each other here.
But Lalime has actually gained the lead here over Zablevsky. You're going to wonder if Zablevsky just will have enough energy to gain it back, especially after going harder on the first half of the race. But of course, these swimmers have probably spent a lot of time in the pool just counting their laps, racing each other. So they're going to be very familiar with this situation.
We'll see what the discrepancy in experience means here for Lalime and Zableski as they look to hold on to first and second place in dominant fashion.
But again, these will be crucial points for the Jumbos here, as if they can build a slight lead in these early events, maybe losing in some of those later events that will be a little less close, especially in the sprinting, it could help them out here. But folks, you're in for a very close meet today, as both of these teams are nationally ranked. MIT, of course, with the slight rankings lead over Tufts. But then again, those rankings don't tell the whole story. You never know what's going to happen in a dual meet like this.
You can't quantify the character that it takes to really push yourself to improve and win these events.
Of course, Lalime here just growing his lead over the freshman and the rest of the field. As you can tell with those lap counters, just how much they're trying to hype their team up. Of course, very few laps remaining. Of course, you can also see how much these Jumbos are trying to hype their team up. Of course, for their senior night, you're looking to see everybody try and get the win here.
Composure is going to be less of a concern as we head into this final 50 meters or 50 yards.
But as everybody's sprinting here, the pool's getting hyped. It looks like for the win in lane 4, John Lalime. For second place in lane 2, lane 2, excuse me, Evan Zablevsky. And in lane 3, Trevor Carter, the freshman from MIT, getting third place.
Less than a second separating Lalime and Zableski as Lalime finishes with a 9:47.10 and Zableski finishes with a 9:47.96.
It's always fun to watch those close rivalries between teammates. You can see them, of course, talking right now. Perhaps talking a little bit of trash to each other, who knows. But in lane 6 for fourth place, you have Paul Schwartz, the sophomore from Tufts. And now, in fifth place, lane 5, Christopher Reiner from MIT. But now we have the women's 200-yard freestyle with the first heat here. In lane 2, Emma Seymour, the junior from Tufts. Lane 3, Madison Wong, MIT freshman. Chloe Davini, one of the freshmen to watch here, from Tufts. In lane 5, Lee Shirley, the freshman from MIT. Lots of freshmen in this race, Ethan.
Crazy.
Yeah. Tufts is like to utilize heat 1 to
I know it's surprising.
get their swimmers some experience and also really just empower them.
Absolutely.
Showing them that they can be collegiate level swimmers.
We do have to do a little bit of limbo with those flags. Of course, this doesn't happen as much as swimming, but in some of the track events that I did, sometimes they'd put the flags a little too low, so kids would have to duck, and then they'd end up just face planting instead.
Blocks.
But excuse me, there is no lane 3 here.
The 200-yard freestyle being one of those mid-distance events here. I always thought it was a long event myself.
But for relative to college, it's more of a mid-distance. As the two tough swimmers here are off to a slight lead, Chloe Davini and Emma Seymour. Davini off to a slight lead here, but the MIT swimmer in lane 5, Shirley Lee, is making it closer. Davini here, a strong swimmer, especially for a freshman. But you can see how close some of these swims are, even in matches that don't necessarily count, like this heat. But both swimmers are swimming pretty hard here. It's going to be a close one in the end.
It really means everything to the jumbo swimmers here to see how much these freshmen care about the team performing well. Everybody wants to step up, even in exhibition.
As for that turn here, Davini's still off to a slight lead as everybody's cheering them on, especially these MIT swimmers.
Davini with half a body length lead about on the MIT swimmer.
And for this final lap, you're looking to see everybody cheer their teammate on. Davini with a slight lead here over the engineer. As Davini with a half body length. And it comes down to the final touch. And she wins it in 1:57.57. Lane 5 for Tufts, or for MIT, Shirley Lee gets second, 1:58.12. Lane 2, Emma Seymour, the junior, gets third place here. But next, the scoring heat, you will have freshman from MIT, Callie Kunz, in lane 2, Claire Brennan from Tufts, Shannon Hagmeyer, the sophomore from Tufts, Mary Husfinger, the sophomore from Tufts, Jennifer Hung in lane 5, in lane 5 from MIT, and Kaylin Isakov in lane 6. As everybody is trying to hype these swimmers up, it's going to be a close match here as all of these swimmers are good enough to potentially win this thing. You really don't know what's going to happen.
The scoreboard has also been updated for the meet in the middle of that last event. So the Tufts women are currently tied with the guests MIT, and the Tufts men have a strong lead over MIT with a score of 26-10.
And it looks like in lane 3, MIT has a slight lead here. Shannon Hagmeyer. But that battle for first is just about tied right now. It's all going to be about who does well in these turns. And lane 4, Mary Husfinger, the sophomore from Tufts, able to get a slight lead. Not to discount Claire Brennan and Kaylin Isakov in the outside lane. As Brennan appears to be slightly winning now, gaining that lead over Tufts.
Isakov with the win last weekend in the 1,000. We'll see if her endurance shows here in a much shorter event.
But you can see Brennan here, tied with Husfinger for a very close swim right now. Just a slight lead over the rest of the opponent. And the battle for third, of course, is very exciting too, with MIT looking to take it, but you never know what's going to happen with that outside lane with Kaylin Isakov. as Brennan and Husviger are very close right now. Brennan does appear to have a slight lead, but we're going to see what happens off this turn, as both swimmers are able to stay underwater for a while. But Brennan does have a lead here coming into this final stretch. It's going to be very close to see who actually wins this thing. But it will be Brennan for the win for Tufts. In second place, we have lane 4, Mary Husviger. And in third, we have Shannon Hagmeyer, the sophomore from MIT. Kaylin Eiskov winning her close battle in lane 6. Over lane 5, Jennifer Hyung. And Callie Kuntz, the freshman from MIT, gets 6th place here.
Encouraging stuff again from the Lady Jumbos in these distance events as they claim the top 2 spots for a second consecutive event. We see Brennan get that time. Oh, we just found out that it is a new pool record for Claire Brennan, the freshman from Tufts, in this 200-yard freestyle with a time of 1:55.08.
Folks, you just witnessed some history as we move on to the men's 200-yard freestyle. Lane 2, Michael Gregoris. Lane 3, Henry Wang from MIT. Lane 4, Victor Vrolbechthausen. Excuse me if I got that pronunciation wrong. And lane 6, Greg Callahan, the senior from Tufts. But for this most of Tufts match, you're looking for the men to go pretty hard here.
Again, even in these exhibition events, the effort matters. The swimmers from both teams really want to see that everybody's on board.
And off to a slight lead here in lane 4, that's going to be Victor Volberthausen, the sophomore. But we are looking to see what the senior Greg Callahan can do on his senior night. And in second place, Michael Gregoris, who also did well last meet. Appears it's going to be a Tufts on Tufts battle here for first place, as these two swimmers probably spent a lot of time in the pool racing each other. You love to see those inter-squad rallies.
Hopefully these jumbo swimmers are encouraged by that pool record set by Claire Brennan. It's not every day you see a new pool record. And even coming from a freshman, that's showing you how much every member of the team cares about the performance today on senior day.
And in first place for that race, it's going to be lane 2, Michael Gregoris. In second, that's going to be Victor Volbrechthausen, the sophomore. And third, you're going to have lane 6, Greg Callahan, the senior. And for fourth place, you have Henry Wang. But to speak about that pool record, when all these swimmers enter the pool every single day, they see that record board. And every single day when they enter that pool, they're going to be seeing her name, which is just so much inspiration for these swimmers. Of course, most of those pool records have been set in these couple years. I don't know if they're putting something new in the pool, maybe a different type of chlorine that's making these happen, but it's great to see these jumbos doing so well in these past few years. A great transformation for the Tufts swimming program. But here for Heat 2, in lane 1, Trevor Carter. In lane 2, Tyler Tatro. In lane 3, the senior from MIT, Buk Edskis. In lane 4, John Koster. In lane 5, Jordan Wren. And in lane 6, Drew Hollett, the freshman from Tufts.
The Jumbos looking to build on their big lead in these early events. MIT looking to resurrect themselves.
As MIT off to a good start here. Of course, it's hard to tell these leads early on, but that was a
This
great
is gonna
underwater
not handle the
section
stream, man.
from
Guess how many FPS we're on right now?
lane 4, John Coster. Able to keep in this.
12 FPS.
You can just see how much longer he spends underwater
This
than the
is
Ember
not
Swimmers.
supposed
He's
to be
always,
done.
at least in this heat, the last underwater, and that's some of the secret to doing well in this event.
Huh? Well, it's 12 FPS, so about as good as that'll be.
But Boog Edskis, the senior from MIT,
What?
trying to get the win here on his senior night.
30 to 60. We usually run 30. So.
At the turn, as you can see, their fellow Jumbos cheering him on.
I mean, if we had the first setup,
But
we'd be
lane
able
5,
to do it, but
Jordan Red, the sophomore from MIT, doing well here, staging a bit of a comeback. Of course, it's always surprising to see a winner from lane 5, but it does happen. And it looks like it could happen here today. As the points get loud here.
It's going to take a lot of character for Tufts to rescue some points in this event. As we did see at the MIT Invitational, the men had the lead after day 1 of 3, but their lead soon evaporated as MIT overtook them. They'll want to stay strong here, keep the intensity high.
But for this final section, you're going to have MIT looking to take this. It's going to be close to see who actually gets second place here. But for first place, you have lane 5. Jordan Red in lane 3. You have Boog Edskis, the senior. And then for third place in lane 4, John Coster. That 1-2 finish for MIT.
all right, we lost the camera. We're good.
But that was definitely a close race there. MIT doing well to get those points. And some of these races, especially for some of these second and third place matches, are won by a tenth of a second here. As you can see, just 12 hundredths of a second separating second and third here. And sometimes that's what wins meets. And here, our next event is the women's 100-yard backstroke. The Tufts women are currently leading 33-22. But in lane 2, Emily Payne, the sophomore from Tufts, Lilia Statzel, the senior from MIT in lane 3, and Younger, the sophomore from Tufts in lane 4. Emily Wang, the freshman from Tufts from MIT, in lane 5, and Han Trussell, the senior, in lane 6. But off to a good start here in lane 4. And Younger, the sophomore. Of course, the fastest seed time given her position, but it's looking like it's going to be a very close battle here between lane 3 and 4 and Younger and Lilia Statzel as they get to the turnaround with Younger with a slight lead.
You'll see how important maintaining streamline is here in the backstroke, as we've seen Ann Younger hold out that streamline off of every turn for a substantial amount of time, and she continues to build on her lead in this event.
Younger here increasing her lead as the race goes on. But it appears the battle for second is closer than initially thought. Hannah Truslow, the senior, is able to actually get second here with 1 minute 3 seconds. And for third place in lane 3 from MIT, Lilia Statzel. But that's something you can see from these seniors, just the ability to make late comebacks and really swim for the entirety of the race to be able to get those points. As you can see from the score count, that every point matters here. But in our second heat, in lane 1, Yasmin Buzaroda. In lane 2, Grace Gauches. In lane 3, Hannah Rosado. In lane 4, Emma Donchi. In lane 5, Nanette Wu. And in lane 6, Jackie Crater.
As we saw in the last event, the keys to winning this will be not just finding your streamline off every turn and in the start of the race, but also finding your streamline in every stroke.
Absolutely, it's a very close match here. But you can just see how much time some of these swimmers spent underwater, really showing that veteran experience here. In first place right now, we have the MIT swimmer in lane 3, Laura Rosado, almost tied with Grace Gocheas in lane 2. But some of the strength of these MIT swimmers are just how much time they spend in the water. I know I talked about it a lot, but it's simply true. As it's looking like a close 1-2 finish. As Laura Rosado, the sophomore from MIT, gets first place, while Grace Gocheas gets second. For third place in lane 4, Emma Doshny, the sophomore, Donchi from Tufts.
Grace Gocheas second with a time of 59:30. And Emma Donchi in third with a time of 1 minute, .86.
So Ethan, one of the things I've seen today is the cupping the little circles on some of these swimmers' back. Is that something popular, or is that a relatively rare occurrence?
I haven't seen it used at the high school level, but certainly at those higher levels when watching the Olympics on TV. And I think if I remember correctly, that's how you get the blood flowing, and you'll even stay warm.
Okay, so in our first heat of the men's 100-yard backstroke, Brian Galat, the sophomore from MIT, Connor lane 2, Adam Janicki, the freshman from MIT, and Nathan Mitchell, the junior lane 4. But it appears that lane 3 from MIT, Adam Janicki, is off to a strong start here, with a close battle for second and third. As they get to that turnaround, Adam Janicki able to do well on that backstroke to stay underwater that long. But for second place in lane 4, Nathan Mitchell, the junior, also doing well. The battle for third here is very close between MIT and Tufts. But for the win, you have MIT's junior, a freshman, Adam Janicki, with second place being Nathan Mitchell, the sophomore from Tufts. In third, you had Brian Glatt, the sophomore from MIT, and in fourth, Connor Doyle, the junior from Tufts. As you can hear that "Let's Go Jumbos" chant from the Tufts side as they try to encourage their swimmers to do well here.
Getting points becoming increasingly important for the Jumbos as we saw a big lead of theirs diminish in that last event. They currently are still ahead by a score of 30-25, but need the points here.
And in lane 1, Jaya Klapopti. In lane 2, Joshua Balby. In lane 3, James Richardson. In lane 4, Nate Tingen. In lane 5, Henry Hugh. And in lane 6, Ethan Webster. But here we are off to a strong start from a lot of the swimmers here. It's tough to tell who's currently winning, but we're going to see at the turnaround what develops. But it appears that lane 3 from MIT currently has the lead. James Richardson, the freshman. And lane 4, Nate Tingen, is closely behind. But it's all going to matter on this turnaround, the final leg of this, as the pool is trying to hype them all up. As all the teams are yelling. But MIT will take the lead here in this event. James Richardson in lane 3 coming in first place. In second place, Nate Kingen, the sophomore from Tufts. And for third place, Joshua Balby. A very close race.
Nate Tingen with a time of 51.69 and Joshua Balby with a time of 52.03.
Our next event here, for the folks watching at home, is going to be the women's 100-yard breaststroke. Where in lane 2 we have Liz Sutton, I believe. In lane 3, Nicole Dundas. In lane 4, Emily Mendelson. And lane 6, Stephanie Palm. So Ethan, one of the things I mentioned last meet was the lifeguard at the pool. Do you happen to see the lifeguard today?
I think they're more hidden than before, but I did see 2 of them sitting nearby.
I do see the lifeguard here at the end of the pool.
Oh, yes.
Of course, we do joke about lifeguard is swim meet, but they are, of course, very important. Not to downplay the seriousness of it.
Lots of capable swimmers here, of course. So I'm sure that we have a safe environment for this meet.
Of course, as the event is looking to start here.
We're seeing the MIT swimmers just below us, staying loose on that sideline right before the event.
And it appears we do have to take a minute for everybody to stay clear of that pool. Ooh, as we have a slight disruption for the pool, but they did grab it. As the swimmer is ready for their start. Sometimes those sort of false starts can throw a swimmer off their game, but I think at the college level, they're just about ready for anything.
Just like in the backstroke, in the breaststroke, you're going to want to see a strong streamline both off the wall and with each stroke. It's all about streamline here.
And it's a pretty close battle for first right now. It looks like lane 2, Liz Sutton does have a slight lead over the rest of the field. Followed pretty closely by lane 4, Emily Mendelson, the junior from Tufts. That's looking like a Tufts 1-2-3 finish here, as it's a relatively poor turnaround for MIT. But it's going to be a Tufts on Tufts battle here for those scoring positions. Of course, not a scoring event, but everybody likes to see these Tufts swimmers do well here as they get to the turnaround. Liz Sutton just extending her lead there, followed closely by Emily Mendelson. Sutton only a freshman, but of course we love to see these freshman swimmers doing well here, especially at the college level. As Sutton will take the win here in 1 minute 10 seconds, .47. Followed closely by Emily Mendelson in lane 4 with 1 minute 11 seconds and 93 hundredths of a second. Followed by the tough swimmer in lane 6, Stephanie Pond, the senior, with a 1 minute and 14 second race. But here in the second heat of the women's 100-yard breaststroke, it's going to be a close match here between all of these swimmers as they are off. As we have a close start here from MIT. Doing well with that breaststroke, able to get to the slight lead here. Doing well early in the race to get that lead. Of course, sometimes you do get those early leads and just never look back, and I think that's what we'd be seeing here from MIT.
It's going to be a really close battle for second as we see the Tufts swimmers in lanes 2 and 4 swimming really closely with the MIT swimmer in lane 5. It's going to come down to the wire for those really lucrative podium spots behind this dominant MIT swimmer in lane 3.
That's going to be Adina Chen, the freshman from MIT, with a dominant performance here for first place, winning by over 4 seconds. That's impressive. And in lane 5 for second place, you have the MIT swimmer, Sarah Nicholas, as that is going to be a resounding lead for Tufts.
We saw the senior, Alexander Burnham, reach in the water just below us and lather himself up with that water. We'll see if that proves meaningful on the start. Something interesting I haven't seen before.
Absolutely. For our next race, we have the men's 100-yard breaststroke. In lane 2, from the senior from Tufts, Alexander Berman. In lane 4, Matthew Manfrey, the senior from Tufts. And in lane 6, Quan Lee, the junior from Tufts. Ethan, I think Tufts might win this one.
I'd certainly give them a good chance.
But it's great to see these seniors doing well as we have a slight lead from Matthew Manfrey, but covered quickly by the other swimmers. Of course, these leads do matter, especially in a shorter race like this that takes about a minute or even less. As we get to the turnaround, Matthew Manfrey with the slight lead. In second place, Alexander Burnham. And lane 3, Quan Lee.
I'm sure the Tufts seniors in this first heat of the 100-yard backstroke will be happy for any chance to swim in front of these fans here.
We do
mostly
have a
friends and
crowd
family
today
at Hamilton Pool. Lots of people holding up signs with faces on them, I'm sure, for the seniors.
As you can hear some chanting from the Tufts bench. All of them excited to see this. But here we have the first appearance of, in lane 4, Tarchar Jerusinchai, excuse me, who was the CAC Performer of the Week, or Swimmer of the Week, excuse me, this past week, with a dominating performance over the rest of the field in all of his events.
Yeah, he's been a big contributor for the Tufts men, as we saw them beat Boston College to start the semester, a D1 school that they haven't defeated since 2008.
Whoa. Is that going to be a false start for Tartar?
The swimmers are here always on edge.
Oh,
they'll fall into the water if they're told to stand back up. They're ready to go.
As you can hear, just that amount of support from the rest of the team.
The crowd grew silent there. They didn't want to have another false start.
Of course, Tartar off to a slight lead here in lane 4, followed closely in lane 6 by JJ Batt, the junior from Tufts. As Tartar just a slight lead over the rest of the field. It's going to be close here as we have this second turnaround, excuse me. But we're going to see who can spend the amount of time underwater they really need to win here. As Tartar extending his lead over the rest of the field, but followed closely by some of the other MIT swimmers. As the pool's electric right now, hearing the rest of the field. But Tartar barely winning over the rest of the MIT. In lane 3, that's going to be MIT is attempting to stage a comeback. It's going to be close here to see who wins this thing. It's going to be down to the wire. Who wins it? And Tartar wins it. 58 seconds, .88 in second place in lane 3, and it's going to be Samuel Song, the freshman from MIT. It's tough to compete, of course, as a freshman, but you love to see it. Just having them do so well up close. In lane 5, it's going to be Kyrie Chen for third place with a minute, .07 seconds. But you love to see just how close some of these races are. And just the amount of energy that Tufts can really do to support the rest of the team.
This was possibly the closest event we've seen so far today. And the sophomore Tartar, the NESCAC Performer of the Week, comes out on top.
Ooh, and Tufts with a very close lead right now. 46-47 for both the men and the women. Really getting down to the wire at every event just shows how much every single race matters in this meet.
Exactly what we expected to see from these two top-tier Division III schools.
But for our next event, we have the women's 200-yard butterfly. Tori Atkinson, from the freshman from Tufts, in lane 2. Hannah Mahaffey, the junior from MIT, in lane 3. Catherine Sweetser, the junior from Tufts, in lane 4. Chelsea Zhang, the sophomore from MIT, in lane 5. And Sam Nassin, the sophomore from Tufts, in lane 6. But of course, we do love this Tufts MIT rivalry. The Cambridge to Medford Somerville very close meet. Probably a 15 or 20 minute drive, if that. You know, these swimmers have waited for the day where they get to compete against each other.
These swimmers separate by physical distance and in the scoreboard.
Absolutely, both academic powerhouses in the pool also. Crosstown rivals. It's great to be here on this Saturday afternoon, I guess. So, Ethan, typically if you're a swimmer, let's say you have an earlier event and a later one, what do you do in between those events? Do you just stand by the pool and cheer them on, or is there like a practice pool somewhere?
Well, as we're going to see soon, there is a bit of a break, and during that 10-minute or so break, the swimmers will have a chance to get back in the pool and warm up.
And it looks like lane 4 is going to be leading. That's going to be Catherine Sweetser, the junior from Tufts. As lane 3, Hannah Mahaffey, the junior from MIT, getting that lead back. But it looks like it's going to be a close 1-2 battle here, and especially a close battle for third in those outer lanes between Sam Nassin and Chelsea Zhang, lane 6 and 5 respectively. But that's Hannah Mahaffey extending her lead over the rest of the field.
The 200-yard butterfly, of course, being one of those more demanding events because, as we know, butterfly requires a lot of strength to get yourself out of the water on every stroke. So far, the MIT swimmer currently in the lead in lane 3, looking strong.
Damn it, that was the wrong one. Oh, God.
Followed pretty substantially behind by the Tufts swimmer in lane 4. I believe that is Catherine Sweetser, the junior.
Of course, the butterfly, one of the hardest races in swimming, or one of the hardest strokes in swimming, and one of the hardest distances for the butterfly. As they go to that turnaround. But it looks like it's going to be, for this first heat of the women's 200-yard butterfly, it's going to be a win for the MIT junior, Hannah Mahaffey, coming in. This third place battle is looking very close, but Tufts looks like about a one-stroke lead to get third place. It's going to be Sam Nassen, the sophomore, over Chelsea Zhang. But for second place, that's going to be Catherine Sweetser, the junior from Tufts. But that's well done there from Sam Nassen to be able to come back and get that victory.
The junior Catherine Sweetser in lane 4 getting a time of 2:14.36 to get second place. And in lane 6,
All right, we're back. I just switched out these things.
we had Sam Nassen, the sophomore, get a
Don't know
time
why that
of
didn't work.
2:19.36 to claim third place in the exhibition heat.
But now in the scoring heat, it's going to be another close race today, folks. So buckle up. In lane 1, you have Kayla Holman. In lane 2, Caitlin Isakov. In lane 3, Kaylee Allen. In lane 4, Abby Klaus. Lane 5, Angelina Zhang. And lane 6, Amy Socha. With Tufts taking the even lanes and MIT taking the odd ones. But here, it's looking like a close start for the field. Hard to tell who's in the win, or who's in first place, rather.
It almost seems relatively quiet, but with a race this close, it's sure to get louder in the stadium.
Absolutely. It looks like Amy Socha in lane 6. An unlikely spot for the current winner of the race, but not impossible. But everybody's within a body length or half a body length of each other. But I want to say that lane 2 from Tufts, Kaylin Isakov, only a freshman, but still one of the better distance to mid-distance swimmers here, has a slight lead, but is overtaken by lane 5 from MIT, Angela Zhang, another freshman, as these outer legs are making it a close race.
It's so hard to tell who's in the lead right now. We're due for some late drama. We're going to see who wants it more, who's showing the character on senior day.
But that's a great 6th lap from Abby Klaus from Tufts. As she gets to the turnaround in the lead, still winning. It looks like MIT is working very hard late 5. Angela Zhang.
It looks like at the very least Tufts will get those 2 positions on the podium, but they're really going to want to get this first place in the meet as
And
close
here
as
we
this.
have the final turnaround. It looks like it's going to be in lane, oh, it's so hard to tell. In lane 4, Abby Klaus versus lane 2, Kaylin Isakov. It's going to be down to the wire, especially for who gets third place. All the swimmers currently tied. But lane 2, Kaylin Isakov, the freshman, followed closely by Abby Klaus, the junior from Tufts. And with a strong third place finish, Amy Socha, the junior from Tufts, to get that third place. And you never know how much that extra point, getting third instead of fourth, is going to cost them at the end.
Those first 4 positions all finishing within 0.6 of a second. Such a close race. and a very important one for the Lady Jumbos to secure this victory.
But of course, we do love watching some of these closer races as we have the men's 200 butterfly here. But in this race, we have in lane 1, Captain Tim Crowell, the senior from MIT. In lane 2, Tim Gronet, the senior from Tufts. In lane 3, Brendan Wagner, from the freshman from MIT. Kristen Schoen, the junior from Tufts in lane 4, and Jake Shapiro, the freshman from MIT. As they get on the blocks. And they're off. Not necessarily a great start from the MIT swimmers there, but they are off to the races. Of course, this is one of the races with 8 laps that you could possibly make up a bad start. But another very close race here in this first heat of the men's 200 butterfly.
They all seem to turn off the wall at the same time. You know it's going to be a close race.
It looks like currently the winner, in the lead, Kristen Schoen, the junior from Tufts. But possibly overtaken here in lane 2, Tim Gronet. Now in lane 1, the senior and captain Tim Crale. But it appears it's going to be a battle between Tim Crale and lane 4 for Tufts, Christian Schoen. The senior versus junior battle. As they turn around, of course, some of these middle laps, the most important of the race as you try to stay on pace. But Tim Crale extending the lead, making it much less closer than previously thought. But that battle for second is very close with a 3-way tie between lanes 3, 4, and 5. Oh, but that's well done there from the MIT swimmer. Brendan Wagner in lane 3. But for the win here, we're going to have a 1:59.33 Tim Crale. In second place, we have Brendan Wagner doing well on that last end to get second place there. And in lane 5, Jake Shapiro, the freshman from MIT, doing well to get third place there. But as the swimmers get ready for the next heat, let's announce the names. We have in lane 1, Matt Wojcik, the senior from MIT. Trevor Sermon, the senior from Tufts in lane 2. David He, the sophomore from MIT in lane 3. Sebastian Kai, the freshman from Tufts in lane 4. Kevin Fang, the junior from MIT in lane 5. And Lomax Turner, this junior from MIT in lane 6.
Let's go Jumbo's chance, filling the pool deck, as these swimmers know just how important this event is with a score this close.
Starting off strong for everybody in this race. It's going to be it looks like it's going to be a close battle between lanes 3, 4, and 5. But currently in the lead for the Jumbos, you have Sebastian Kai in lane 4. Followed closely in lane 3 by David He. But that battle for third place is going to be very close. We're going to see if Kevin Fang can hold off Lomax Turner.
Looks like David He is taking a lead over Sebastian Kai at the moment as we finish the first 100 yards of this race.
Halfway through the race, he does have a slight lead over Sebastian Kai, but it's going to be close for this race. Kevin Fang following closely. We're going to see if he can make up some of that distance, possibly get a second or first place here. But David Hage extending his lead, doing well here in the pool. But that battle for second is looking much closely anticipated than previously thought. Kai having trouble holding off Fang. But on that last turnaround, it's going to be very important to see for these jumbos if they can keep that second place finish.
It's going to take a lot of character if Sebastian Kai wants to catch up to the current leader. It doesn't look like he will. And it looks like he's been overtaken by the MIT swimmer in lane 5. That is Kevin
barely
Fang.
holding off Kai. It's going to be a close one down to the wire as David Hade takes the win. Followed closely by Kevin Fang in lane 5 with a 1:55.58. And then Sebastian Kai in lane 4 with a 1:56.34. As that is a very competitive race in the 200-yard fly. But next we have the women's 50-yard freestyle. As in lane 1, Lyan 2. And then in lane 2, Elle Morse, the freshman from Tufts. In lane 3, Olivia McGrath. Lane 4, Brooke Bernstein. And lane 6, Hannah Lesser. Brooke Bernstein, of course, the senior from Tufts, on her senior night, looking to do well here in one of the most fun races to watch. Of course, one of the shortest as well, which means that every second of the pool counts.
Swimmers, of course, in this 50-yard freestyle, giving it everything they got. No time to breathe, only time to win.
Absolutely, very much an anaerobic event here in the pool today. Now that's going to be a great start there from Bernstein, with a pretty resounding lead over the rest of the field, followed closely in lane 6 by Hannah Lesser, another freshman from Tufts. But it's very close, followed in lane 2 by Elle Morse. Oh, getting a slight lead over Bernstein. And Morse will take the win here in lane 2, followed closely by Bernstein. And then for third place, Hannah Lesser. So that is a 1-2-3 finish in that first heat for the Jumbos.
Up here in the stands, we've heard some unusually loud support. I believe there are signs being held up for the senior Brooke Bernstein, as all the friends and family have shown out for this senior day.
Of course, I love seeing those fat heads. The cutouts of some of the swimmers, always a sight to see. Always a little embarrassing for the swimmers, but I think as long as you're showing support, it's fine. But here in lane 1 for the scoring heat, you will have Delaney Burns from MIT, Camille Ross from the freshman from Tufts, Lily Bjornstad, the sophomore from MIT, Sasha Fong in lane 4, lane 5, Lilia Statzel, and lane 6, Hannah Spencer. And it's going to be a very close start between lanes 4 and 3. Lily Bjornstad and Sasha Fong. Bjornstad off to a slight lead here. Let's see if she can keep it. Followed closely by the tough swimmer in lane 2. But it appears that Fong is able, not Fong. Lily Bjornstad, the sophomore from MIT, is able to take it. Followed closely in lane 5 by Lilia Steitzer, the senior from MIT. And then in third place in lane 1, Delaney Burns, the senior from MIT.
Not something the Lady Jumbos were hoping for, seeing MIT sweep that event, as the score had been tied.
Absolutely, that is not great for the Jumbos right now. Rather unfortunate to see. But in this first heat of the men's 50-yard freestyle, TJ Piercy in lane 1, Noah Zhang in lane 2, Alex Ellison in lane 3, Costa Camerone in lane 4, Jaya Kempahete in lane 5, and Zach Spalding in lane 6.
Lots of noise behind us and many fatheads for the senior Costa Camerano in this event.
But it appears that lane 4, Costa Camerone, the senior from Tufts, has with a slight lead over the rest of the field, but overtaken in lane 3 by Alex Ellison. Doing well. Oh, this is a very close match. But we're going to see down to the wire who wins this. Oh, that's going to be the sophomore from MIT, Jaya Kemphampty, for the win. Followed closely by Alex Ellison from MIT. As you can hear boos from the crowd, they are not happy with that result whatsoever. Costa Camerone.
I've never seen the stadium fill with boos like this.
Hey, at least it makes the broadcast entertaining. But you have Emilio Cesson in lane 1, Peter Labarge in lane 2, Sam Obalaker in lane 3, Roger Gu in lane 4, Justin Liao in lane 5, and Dylan Brown in lane 6. As everybody gets on the starting blocks here, it's going to be a very close race to see who gets the points. And they're off. Sam Obalaker in lane 3 off to a slight start. Roger Gu making it up. It's going to be very close here. Gu off to a large lead here. Is holding it off. Well, and he will get the win here for the Jumbos, getting first place as well as third place with Peter Labarge. But second place goes to Sam Obalaker in lane 3. I'm sure you can hear how loud the pool is right now, as everybody is just so excited that they were able to get first and third place here. Every point's going to matter for these Jumbos. As we head into the break with the Jumbos leading 69-62, while the women are behind MIT 51-61. But here I believe we're going to have a 10-minute break, and we will be back.
I'm starting to wonder if those tweets were actually blue.
Welcome back to the Tufts versus MIT Swim Meet. Today we'd like to bring you something special on the broadcast where we have the senior recognition for Tufts. Of course, everybody from the fans to the swimmers themselves to the coaches to the staff, everybody, whether behind the scene or on the scene, is so proud of these seniors. Of course, their parents are here too, and everybody is looking to celebrate them today, especially against this team because it is very close right now in this meet. Of course, you can see how some of these hugs between some of the coaches and the seniors are just so heartbreaking. They're so bittersweet.
Salute this commitment of its senior class. Tufts would also like to salute the MIT seniors for their dedication to the engineering program. For the men, congratulations to Luca Estes, Tim Carr, Amelia Susan, Sam Ugalaka, and Matt Royce. For the women, Delaney Burns, Kayla Hellman, Alex Legrand, Lily Staza, Minette Wu, and Blake Zhu. Now, for the Tufts senior men, Alexander Burnham. Alex is majoring in computer science. He plans literally after graduation, working for the film industry. His favorite team USD memory is winning SX. Next, Greg Calhoun. Greg is a major in biomedical engineering. He plans to pursue masters in bioengineering after graduation, and his favorite TUSC memory is beating Boston College. Costa Camarama.
Luger, if you can fill in what's going on, because I can't hear it that well in here, so just try to repeat what they're saying.
So right now we have an announcement about each senior as they run through the tunnel.
His favorite TUSC memory is buying a boat with Trevor, Abigail, and Sebastian, and strapping to the top of his car to be used later this semester.
As you can see, each senior just running through their teammates, almost sliding and running into the door at the end. All part of that fun.
Tanya is a double major in English and film and media studies. After undergrad, he plans to go to London or Australia for masters. His favorite TUSC memory is fighting every member of TUSD after winning NESCACs.
Of course, you can hear how each senior's favorite memory, what they're doing after graduation in their major here at Tufts. And some of these memories are just so great to hear. You can hear the passion in some of these swimmers. And here you have Tim Gronit.
His future plans at undergrad is attending Tufts' 5th year combined degree program and getting his master's in chemical engineering. His favorite TUSC memory is jumping into the pool with the team after winning the men's NESCAC championships.
And that's something we've heard here a lot here today. Those NESCAC championships from 2018. Roger Goo, which we mistakenly thought were booze, but that's actually goo.
His major is in biomedical engineering and is on the pre-med track. His future plan after undergrad is medical school. His favorite TUSC memory is winning NESCACs and beating ZC.
And of course, another memory is going to be that BC defeat from earlier this season. The first time in 10 years. Of course, amazing to hear. And now we have Matt Manfrey.
His future plans after he did not accept a software engineering position for a defense technology company in Burlington, Massachusetts. His favorite GMC memory is quitting. Just kidding. He's being able to walk around and think he's doing as bad as it is.
Of course, you've heard his favorite TUSD memory is quitting. Just kidding, of course. Little joke there from the senior.
And lastly, Trevor Sermon.
Now we have Trevor Sermon, our last swimmer for the men.
Trevor Sermon will major in entrepreneurship. His future plans after undergrad, pursuing a master's degree in sports administration to eventually become the athletic director of UCLA. His favorite TUSC memory is coaching Boston College last week at the ACC football team.
And you could hear just how much that win over Boston College really affected that team. As some of them are wiping out towards that latter end of the pool. Brett Bernstein, running first up here.
Working towards the future, Brooke is currently applying to graduate schools to study
No,
education.
oh.
Her favorite TUSD memory is having her first indoor swim meet.
Just follow them along.
Up next is Grace Fletcher.
Luther.
Grace Gutches, our second senior.
She is currently in the process of applying to graduate schools, hoping to pursue a PhD in biology or earth and environmental science. Her favorite TUSD memories include all of the bus rides back from meets, eating pretzels, watching Mamma Mia, singing I Am a J, and seeing the women's team go from 8th to 2nd place last year at Men's.
Absolutely, you could just hear how well, based on some of these accomplishments and memories,
All right, that's fine,
how well
that's
the
fine.
Tufts program has changed in the last couple of years. You can really hear how they've become a top performer. But here we have Steph Pond.
Working in water resources or climate change resiliency. Her favorite TUSD memory is the pre-week dance party in the multi-purpose room to All I Want for Christmas Is You.
You could just hear how much these tough swimmers really love each other as a team.
Next is Hannah Truslow.
Hannah Truslow, senior, another senior.
Double major with a minor in entrepreneurial leadership studies. After undergrad, Hannah will become an associate in State Street's professional development program. Her favorite TUSD memory is swimming with Flurries after med steps.
Hannah Truslow, captain. And our last senior here is Tasia Gladkova.
Plans include staying at Tufts to pursue a master's in mechanical engineering. Her favorite TUSD memory is driving to practice with the diving squad. Congratulations to all of our seniors and best of luck in the second half of the year.
And here, as we pose for pictures with the Tufts seniors towards the end of the pool, it's definitely bittersweet to have some of these last meets for these seniors, especially given how much time they've spent in the pool over the years. So Ethan, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I believe they tell you when you're swimming in a pool to not run by the pool, but I think we saw a clear violation of that. What are your thoughts?
Indeed, we did. And we saw as they came out of the tunnel, they really slid along the floor. It's good that these strong swimmers have strong balance, but do not try this at home.
Absolutely. We saw multiple of them actually open that door towards the right corner, or top left corner of your screen, which of course is rather impressive. But Ethan, moving on to this second half of the meet, what are you looking for from both Tufts squads here?
Well, we see that the men started off strong and fell behind. We want to see that same mentality that they showed early in the meet so they can retake this lead. And as for the women, it's been close the whole way. They just need to hold on here.
Absolutely. I think both of these leads are within 7 points, with Tufts losing for their women 63 to 68. Oh, excuse me, with their men 63 to 68, with their women winning 69 to 62. Of course, very close between these two teams. And the second half of the meet is definitely going to be very exciting, especially down towards the end, when you know both scores are going to be very close. And we will be back in a few minutes, back when the action resumes here at Tufts versus MIT. And our first event here is going to be the women's 100-yard freestyle. Our first heat here is going to be relatively close. And starting in the lead from MIT in lane 3, that's going to be Jennifer Cheong. Followed closely in lane 4 by Caitlin Ulmer from Tufts. A freshman-on-freshman battle here. As we get to that first turnaround. Of course, only 4 laps of the pool for the 100. As lane 5 also getting close into it, Olivia McGrath, the junior from MIT. But Caitlin Ulmer doing well here to follow closely in second place behind Jennifer Young, the freshman from MIT. And in this freshman-on-freshman battle, but the freshman from MIT will take it. That's going to be first place for Jennifer Young with 56 seconds, .08. At second place, we're going to have Caitlin Ulmer with 56 seconds at .01. And for third place in this exhibition heat, we're going to have 56 seconds, .08. Reminder that the Tufts women are winning 69-62. A close lead, but a nice one to have. And the women are losing 63-68. Or the men are losing 63-68, excuse me.
Yeah, not the best way for these Lady Jumbos to follow up on that nice first half. But it's good that they were able to rescue some points with the second and third place finishes.
Absolutely. Now in the counting heat, we have Delaney Burns in lane 1, Chloe Davini, lane 2, Lindsay Bjornstad, lane 3, Mary Husfiger in lane 4. Lilia Stoltia, in lane 5, and Hannah Spencer in lane 6. And starting off strong for MIT, that's going to be lane 3, Lindsay Bjornstad, followed very closely by Mary Husfinger in lane 4 as they get to the turnaround. As lane 3, 4, and 5 are all very close. Of course, Tufts trying to compete for every single point here. So that lane 3 battle, position 3 battle is going to be close as they get to the turnaround with Bjornstad in a slight lead over Husfinger, followed closely by Lilia Stazel in third, but it's going to be very close to see who wins this as Bjornstad gets the lead over Husfinger by approximately 0.2 of a second, followed closely in third by Lilia Stazel, and then for fourth place for the Jumbos, Chloe Davini, the freshman.
Bjornstad gets the win in lane 3 with a time of 53.80. Hufziger snags second place in lane 4 with a time of 53.99. And in lane 5, third place from MIT, Lilia Stetzel, the senior.
Now moving to the men's 100-yard freestyle. You're going to have Kevin Fang in lane 1 from MIT, Victor Volberthausen, the sophomore in lane 2 from Tufts, Alex Elvison in lane 3 from MIT, Noah Zhang in lane 4, Nicholas Baginski, the sophomore from MIT, and Greg Callahan in lane 6 the senior from Tufts. As you have a pretty good start there from MIT's lane 2, but lane 4, or Tufts' lane 2, excuse me, but from lane 4, you're going to have Noah Zhang off to its close lead here. Followed closely in lane 3 by Justin Leo. But it's a very close race in the pool here. Only approximately like a 1/10 of a second separating most of these swimmers, or at least half a second. But in lane 1, that's going to be Noah Zhang slightly beating Alex Ellison from MIT. But it's just going to be how well they do after this turn. And Alex Ellison out of the water first. Able to looking to win here as he's coming towards the edge of the pool. And it looks like he will barely grab the win by approximately half a second with a 48 flat to gain first place. As in lane 4, Noah Zhang loses his lead to get second place with a 48.58. And in third, in lane 1, Kevin Fang, the junior from MIT, to get third place with a 48.88. But now, moving on to the scoring heat, we have Kyrie Chen in lane 1, Peter Labarge in lane 2, Justin Liao in lane 3, Roger Gu in lane 4, Emily Sisson in lane 5, and Dylan Brown in lane 6. Gu, of course, a fan favorite, as you saw from that senior appreciation earlier, and also the Gu chants earlier. And the swimmers take their marks here. And get off to a strong start here. We're looking for Roger Gu in lane 4. Off to a very strong start with a lead over lane 3 for MIT. That's going to be Justin Liao. Very close though. All within a tenth of a second with each other. Gu off to a slight lead here. And the battle for third is currently won by MIT's lane 5, Emilio Sisson. But Gu leading here, as both squads, especially the MIT squad, they're cheering loud to support their teammate. But here at the turnaround, Gu is winning, followed very closely by Justin Liao. But Gu, with a pretty resounding lead here, relatively, in the 100 free, is able to get the win in 45 seconds, .07, followed closely in lane 3 by Justin Liu, excuse me. And then in lane 5, Emilio Sisson gets third place. So MIT just showing how well they can do today and why they are ranked higher in the men than the Jumbos and why they're currently winning.
We're seeing in this 100-yard freestyle, everybody wants to sprint it. And it's easy to go off to a good start, but those final 50 yards, the second half of the race, especially that third lap, it's hard to maintain that sprint. And we're seeing why Roger Gu has the experience and the prestige to be a senior today on Senior Day and an SCAC Performer of the Week, as he took a strong, as he turned what was once him falling behind into a strong finish.
Absolutely. Now, for the women's 200-yard backstroke, we're going to have Stephanie Pond, the senior, in lane 2, Chelsea Zhang, the sophomore from MIT, in lane 3, Hannah Trussell, another senior, in lane 4, and Emily Payne from Tufts in lane 6. So Ethan, what exactly is the key to doing well in these backstroke races?
In the backstroke, of course, it's all about having that streamline off the wall and also finding it within every stroke, which isn't as easy because your body isn't fully underwater.
So starting off well to get the lead here is going to be lane 4, Hannah Trussell. Very closely tied with Emily Payne in lane 6. As Trussell here turns around to go to the back half of this lap. But the battle for second here is looking very interesting, as Chelsea Zhang from MIT looking almost even with Emily Payne out wide. But Stephanie Pond possibly able to catch up, but we're going to have to see how the rest of the race goes. But Hannah Trussell here just extending her lead over the rest of the field, doing well there, especially as a senior. And it appears for second place that Chelsea Zhang has a slight lead over the rest of the field in terms of second place. Bridging the gap between first and second here, doing very well in this section, actually, to catch Hannah Trussell. But the battle for second is now turning into a battle for third between Emily Payne and Stephanie Pond, both from Tufts, as Hannah Trussell is extending her lead, and Chelsea Zhang is not able to get any closer. But we're going to see what Emily Payne could do and see if she can catch up. As you can hear the pool get loud for this final lap. As Hannah Trussell stays in first place, while Chelsea Zhang from MIT is in second place. Truslow wins with a 2:16.66. Zhang gets second with a 2:18.20. And then that's going to be Emily Payne in third, 2:19.62, with Stephanie Paulin, the senior, in fourth place for 2:21.36. And now for the scoring heat, you have Yasmin Bazaruda, in lane 1, Emily Donchi from Tufts in lane 2, Laura Rosado, Emily in lane 3, Abby Klaus in lane 4, Emily Wang in lane 5, and Jackie Crater from Tufts in lane 6.
We're seeing the score being updated. I believe they're about one event behind, and it's much different from what we saw at the end of the first half.
Absolutely.
The Tufts women are actually now behind by 20 points by a score of 84-104, and the Tufts men are ahead by substantial margin at a score of 107-75. That Rodrigo victory coming in real handy.
Absolutely. As we see the start to this race, you're going to see lane 3 for the women, Laura Rosado from MIT doing well to start off. This is a pretty close race for first so far, as lane 4, Abby Klaus, is catching up pretty quickly, followed closely by Emma Donchi in third. Not to discount Jackie Crater out wide for 6, but you're seeing Tufts do pretty well here for those second and third place positions. But you're also seeing Laura Rosado just extending her lead, much like Truslow did in the previous race, as Laura Rosado continues to extend her lead, especially doing well off that turn. But that battle for third place is looking a little less competitive now, with Jackie Crater doing well. Battle for fourth place is competitive, though, with Emma Donchi from Tufts having a slight lead over Jasmine Bazaruda. But in first place, you still have Laura Rosado with a slight lead over Abby Klaus. As you go for that final second to last turn here. As Klaus still continues to chase Rosado, and followed in third place by Jackie Crater. And for the fourth place match, Emma Donchi has a slight lead over the first place swimmer from MIT, but you do have Laura Rosado looking like she's going to take it right now, but we're going to see what happens in this final stretch. As Laura Rosado will take it in 2 minutes, 6 seconds, .41, followed closely by Abby Klaus from Tufts with a 2 minute, 8 second, .04, and in third place, Jackie Crater does well to get third with 2 minutes, 11 seconds, .52. But for the men's 200-yard backstroke for the first heat, we will have Tim Roenick in lane 2, Matt Wojcik, another senior from Tufts, in lane 3, Connor Doyle in lane 4 from Tufts. Sorry, Matt Wojcik was a senior from MIT, my apologies, and Brian Glatt, a sophomore from MIT, in lane 5. Reminder that lane 1 starts on the right and lane 6 starts on the left. But here the men line up for the backstroke. And here you have a pretty good start from all the swimmers. It's hard to tell them apart, but it appears that MIT has a slight lead over the rest of the field here with both their swimmers. It's hard to tell between Glatt and Wojcik who is currently winning, but it appears that Glatt does have a slight lead over his teammate and the rest of the field. But he continues to extend that lead as lane 4, Connor Doyle attempts to keep up with Wojcik to make this match a little closer.
As Grona and Doyle seem to be matching each other stroke for stroke here, not as much as before. They're really extending their streamline off the walls, and that's exactly what you want to see in these first heats of the event.
But here you have Brian Glatt just extending his lead over the rest of the field. But you're also looking at a very competitive matchup between Connor Doyle and Matt Wojcik in lanes 4 and 3 respectively, between Tufts and MIT. And of course, even though this is a non-scoring heat, you could tell just how much some of these races mean for some of these swimmers, as almost every single swimmer from both teams is currently watching and cheering on their teammate. But Glatt continues to extend his lead and do well here. But Doyle here, Matt Wojcik for the senior from MIT, does well staying under one or just longer than his opponent to end up getting second place. But for the win, you have Brian Glatt from MIT. In third place, you have Connor Doyle from Tufts. And in fourth place, Tim Grunett, the senior from Tufts University. But now in the scoring heat, you have Christopher Reinhardt, the freshman from MIT, Nathan Mitchell, the junior from Tufts, James Richardson in lane 3, the freshman from MIT, Nate Tingen, the sophomore from Tufts in lane 4, Janicki, the freshman from MIT, and Ethan Webster, the sophomore from Tufts, in lane 6.
We heard some chants for Ethan Webster by some of the swimmers right near lane 1, and that just goes to show how even in these events where there are no seniors, all the points matter, so everybody has their eyes on the younger swimmers and is cheering them on.
Absolutely, now you have that start. Oh, and it's looking rather competitive with MIT appearing to have a 1-2 lead. Excuse me, 1-3 lead. Currently in the lead, you have James Richardson, the freshman from Tufts, followed closely by Nate Tingen, the sophomore. But Richardson is doing pretty well here to extend his lead. But we're going to see how Ethan Webster does off that turn. Getting out of the water very soon. We're going to see how that cost him. But Richardson still in the lead, followed closely by Tingen.
It looks like the Jumbos have a decent hold on second and third place, although in lane 5 we're seeing an MIT swimmer catching up to Ethan Webster in lane 6.
Janicki doing well there to put himself in contention for second and third place respectively. But Richardson just doing extremely well to get that lead. As you can see, he has about a half pool lead right now. As Janicki goes into second place. That's very well from the MIT freshman, excuse me. But you can
4 through 6 going to their turn at the same time. It's going to be really close down the stretch. It's all about the character of the underclassmen.
As Richardson gets the win, followed closely by, it's down to the wire. But Janicki, the freshman from MIT, gets second place there, doing well to beat out Tingen, who looked like he was going to beat him for most of the race, and Ethan Webster coming in fourth. But next up, we have the women's 200-yard breaststroke.
I believe that was Nate Tingen who came in third.
Correct. But a very close race from everybody involved there, with the exception of Richardson, who was able to do pretty well and ended up getting a pretty convincing win.
Not what the Jumbos wanted for MIT to get first and second place when the Jumbos had a stronghold on the scoreboard of this meet.
Absolutely. You can hear just how loud the pool gets when the Jumbos win an event. But here you definitely don't hear that kind of support, even though MIT is only about a 15 or 20 minute drive away.
As we expected, it's been a back and forth meet for both the men and the women.
Absolutely. So for this women's 200-yard breaststroke, you have in lane 2 Allison Kramer from Tufts, Danielle Fang, the junior from MIT in lane 3, Tori Atkinson in lane 4, Luann Hugh in lane 5, and Liz Sutton, the freshman from Tufts, in lane 6. One thing to mention that we haven't exactly mentioned so far is all of these schools are student athletes, or all of these athletes are student athletes. You know, of course, in D3, academics definitely matter a little more than they might in, say, a D1 match. Of course, both these schools are academic powerhouses, but it's always great to see these swimmers doing well in both the pool and the classroom.
They're certainly all multi-talented and have put in a lot of work into both their athletics and academics.
As the breaststroke starts off, it looks like a good lead here from lane 3. That's going to be Danielle Fang from MIT. And of course, something to watch out for in some of these breaststroke events is every time the swimmer puts their head out of water, you're going to hear the crowd make some sort of noise. And it's always very entertaining to hear and slightly confusing for those people who are not quite so acquainted in swimming. But here at that first turnaround, it looks to be a very close match. Danielle Fang currently in the lead, followed closely by Liz Sutton in lane 6 out wide at your left of your screen. But she's followed pretty closely in lane 2 by Allison Kramer, the freshman from Tufts. As Fang continues to stretch out her lead. And so we hit the halfway point in the race. As Sutton appears to have overtaken Lee out wide. A rare sight from lane 6, but it's good to see for Tufts here. Let's see if they can get a second place or a third place as well. But that's going to be down to how well Danielle Fang can turn around here, as both appear to be roughly even. With Sutton having a slight lead over the two. But they are again roughly even between the two, as Sutton gets a pretty great start there off the turn, but Fang able to keep moving. As you can hear how loud the crowd is getting after every jump over the water here. But Sutton doing well from lane 6 to keep her lead. Let's see how they do on this final stretch. But Fang catching up. As you can hear how loud this Tufts crowd is getting, just here on their teammate, but Fang looks like she might take this. Let's see what Sutton can do on this last edge of the pool. As it's down to the wire. But Fang ends up taking it 2 minutes and 33 seconds, .05, followed closely by Liz Sutton with 2 minutes 33 seconds at .45. And in third place you have in lane 2, Allison Kramer with a 2:35.79.
We're seeing just how cohesive the Jumbos are as a unit, with all the swimmers' eyes on the pool, even when it's senior day and it's an exhibition heat with only freshmen.
Absolutely. Now we have the second heat of the 200-yard breaststroke. with Allison Zhang from MIT in lane 1, Emily Mendelson, the junior from Tufts, in lane 2, Adana Chen, lane 3, Grace Gotchis, the senior and captain, in lane 4, Sarah Nicholas, the junior from MIT, and Juliette Bichon, the sophomore from Tufts, in lane 6. And that's going to be a pretty great start there from Adana Chen, the freshman from MIT. Let's see if she can hold it for the rest of the race. Followed closely in lane 5, Sarah Nicholas, able to also do well there. But we're going to see what lane 4 here, Grace Gotchis, one of the senior captains from Tufts. We're going to see how that veteran experience is really going to affect this race here. But Sarah Nicholas off to a strong lead at the start of this race. But the battle for second is pretty close here. As it appears that every stroke that Grace Gotchis and Sarah Nicholas make, the other one will counter very easily. But Adana Chen is doing very well here at the start of this race to get this kind of lead. But we're going to see what the battle for second actually turns into here. As there is another close battle between lane 1 and 2, Angela Zhang and Emily Mendelson from MIT and Tufts respectively.
Gotchis has that slight lead over the MIT swimmer in lane 5, and she'll want to hold on to it because as the meet comes down the wire, you don't want to be losing points. You want anything you can get.
And of course, in this meet where every single point is going to count, Grace Gotchis and Sarah Nicholas, this battle is crucial for the meet. But Adana Chen is doing very well here with that lead, approximately a half pool lead. But Nicholas appears to be edging out Gotchis, excuse me. But Adana Chen doing very well here to get that lead. But we're going to look at lane 5 and 4. Nicholas barely beating Gotchis. But we're going to see who gets it. And that will be Nicholas getting second place over Gotchis. But Adana Chen in lane 3 from MIT will get the win in 2 minutes and 18 seconds. Wait, 2-3.
We're seeing how important those turns are in the breaststroke where you have to push off the wall. As going into the final lap, it looked like it was going to be fairly even between Gotchis and Nicholas, but Nicholas off that wall pulled ahead and won by almost about a full body length.
Absolutely. Now moving on to the men's 200-meter breaststroke, you have Quan Lee, Trevor Carter, Luke ICU, and Matthew Manfrey. With only lane 3, Trevor Carter, the lone swimmer from MIT in this race. As you can hear what I believe is a Let's Go Matthew chant, cheering on one of their seniors. Excuse me, there is no lane 3 in this race. So you're just going to have 3 Tufts swimmers again at their home meet. Of course, much the crowd looking for Matthew Manfrey here to do well as a senior. Getting cheered on very closely by some of his teammates, but appears that Luke ICU is the one currently swimming in the lead, followed closely by Manfrey and Lee in third place.
Even in exhibition, these seniors are going to relish any chance to swim 200 yards in front of their friends and family who have packed the stands in Hamilton Pool here today.
Absolutely, and you still see Luke ICU in first place here. Only a freshman, but he's doing well to beat the junior and senior left in this race. As Manfrey doing well to keep second place here over Lee. Manfrey is someone who's definitely spent a lot of hours in this pool, probably knows every single corner of it by heart, but it's great to see all these seniors doing well here today. As Luke ICU looks like he's going to take the win here. And here's the turn as we move into what I believe is our final lap. As ICU is moving to continue to be first place, but Matthew Manfrey has been overtaken by the second place, formerly third place swimmer in the second lane, Quan Lee. Quan Lee actually attempting to get first place here. A little unexpected, but we're going to see who actually wins this. Lee actually takes this in a 2:15.85, followed closely by Luke ICU in lane 4, and then Matthew Manfrey in third place with a 2:19.39. But
As
now,
you see these tough swimmers pushing it at the end, as even in exhibition, it's a chance to improve your times.
absolutely. So now for the scoring race, you have Brandon Yue, the sophomore from MIT in lane 1, Alexander Burnham in lane 2, Samuel Song in lane 3, Tartar, the fan favorite, in lane 4, Henry Wang in lane 5, and Michael Gregoris, the sophomore from earlier, in lane 6. As they get on, appear to take their marks. And they're off. As you're looking for Tar to take a pretty convincing win here. Of course, the NESCAC Performer of the Week from last week won his earlier event today. Now we're going to see how he does here in the 200 breaststroke. Tartar, as expected, off to a pretty close lead here, but the battle for second and third, it looks almost tied across the pool. It's hard to say who's currently in the lead. But I want to say that Samuel Song, the freshman from MIT, is doing well here, as well as his other MIT teammate, Henry Wang and Michael Gregoris out in lane 6. But Tartar's still winning here.
Tartar building up a lead of about a body length over Samuel Song from MIT in lane 3.
As Tartar doing well there with the turnaround. And the MIT swimmer Samuel Song, the freshman, still chasing, but doing well here to keep up with Tartar. Followed closely in third place. It's going to be lane 2, Alexander Burnham. But this swim may be a closer one than originally thought, as Tartar does look like he's losing a little speed compared to Burnham. But Tartar, you can see him doing well underwater there. As Song is close chasing. Song actually looks like he's catching up here to Tartar, regaining the lead. But we're going to see what they do with this turnaround here. It's very close. Song has a slight lead over Tartar, but you never know what Tartar can get out of the back here. He's NESCAC Performer of the Week for a reason. But Song going hard here, may actually get the win. It's looking hard to catch up as Song gets the lead here just barely by 3/4 of a second. 2 minutes and 7 seconds, 0.5. Tartar actually losing with 2 minutes, 8 seconds, 0.24. And for third place, in second, you have Alexander Burnham from Tufts. So Tufts getting that 2-3 finish. Definitely frustrating that they couldn't get that win, especially for Tartar, who's looked so convincing all meet long and all season long as well. Okay, and now our next event is going to be the women's 500-yard freestyle. 2 heats of this. This will be 20 laps long, so definitely one of the distance races in swimming.
Of course, again, things these swimmers will value are composure and stamina to keep up a good pace throughout the course of the event, as well as to push themselves at the end to give themselves that extra edge.
Absolutely. So in lane 1, you're going to have, or lane 2, excuse me, I apologize, our heat sheets are a little off here on this race. But the MIT swimmer in lane 3 appears to be the one winning currently. But I want to say that Suki Evans currently in 3rd place with the Tufts swimmer in lane 2, which I want to say is Claire Brennan, also doing well. But it might actually be the lane 1 swimmer here, Shirley Lee, doing well. But it is approximately a 4th place, a 4-swimmer tie for 1st place here. Looking like it's going to be a very competitive race. But our apologies, we don't exactly know who is in lane 3 right now. But lane 1 from MIT is currently winning. But as it appears, Suki Evans, I want to say, from Tufts in lane 4, doing what she does best. Maybe not winning for that first half or first section of the race, but ultimately, you know she will most likely win in the end. As she is followed pretty closely by the rest of the field, but appears the Tufts swimmer in lane 2 is also doing well.
Not as much separation as you would expect as we approach the halfway point of this event. And it'll be interesting to see if Tufts can finish with 2 spots on the podium or if they finish with just 1. It appears that the swimmer in lane 4, I apologize that there is a mistake on the entry sheets, has a firm lead in 1st place, but the 2nd place race is heating up.
But that does look like Suki Evans in 1st place there. And it appears the swimmer from MIT in lane 3 also doing well here to stave off the other Tufts swimmer in lane 2. But it's looking like a very close race for 2nd here, as these 3 swimmers in lanes 1, 2, and 3 from MIT, Tufts and MIT respectively, are all very close to getting those crucial points for their team. It's going to be a very exciting match to see who does well here, as we only have a few laps remaining in this race. We are currently on lap 14 of the race. But what looks like Suki Evans is doing very well there. And it appears that someone from Tufts in lane 2, which I want to say is Claire Brennan, is doing well to stave off the rest of the MIT field here to get those points. Looks like the swimmer from MIT in lane 3 is currently in 3rd. But Brennan doing well there on the latter end. So we are currently on lap 16.
We are over 3/4 of the way through this event, and it appears that the MIT swimmer in lane 1, who was once in the strong competition for 2nd place, has fallen behind with the swimmers in lanes 1 and 2. But there is still a strong competition for second place with the two Lady Jumbos in lanes 2 and 4 in second and first place respectively as we head into this final 50 yards.
Absolutely. On this last 50, you're going to see what appears to be Suki Evans just extending her lead here, do what she does best, and just dominate that latter end of the race. But that race for second is looking very close right now. Just a body length ahead approximately for lane 2, Claire Brennan, and the MIT swimmer in lane 3, very close behind. As Tufts gets the win here, followed closely by another second place finish for Tufts, followed by MIT in lane 3 to get third place. MIT also getting fourth place in lane 5, just barely beating the other Tufts swimmer in lane 6. But now we have the men's 500-yard freestyle. In lane 1 from MIT, TJ Piercy. In lane 2 from Tufts, Evan Zablewski. In lane 3, Book Edskis, the captain. In lane 4, John Lalime. In lane 5, Brendan Wagner. In lane 6, Tyler Tatra. Of course, we're looking to see the rivalry early that we saw from Lalime and Buke. And Edskis, excuse me, who are both looking to be competitive in this race.
Zablewski too also taking charge of the long distance today as he was in the 1,000 earlier with Lalime. Nothing short of demanding for the freshman, but he's got this.
It appears that lane 3 for MIT is taking a short lead here. It's going to be Book Edskis. But followed closely in lane 2 by Evan Zablewski, the freshman.
Zablewski with a slight lead over Lalime to start this race, as we saw with the 1,000.
Absolutely. We're going to see what lane 4 here, John Lalime, does. One of the older swimmers in this race. We're going to see if he's able to make up that lead. But so far, you have Edskis, the captain, or the senior rather, in lane 3 currently winning, followed closely by Zablewski in lane 2. And then in third place you have Brendan Wagner. But while Edskis does have that first place, not necessarily in the bag, but definitely leading, that battle for second's looking very close right now, with 3 to 4 swimmers looking like they could potentially get second and third. It's going to be a very close race, and one that Tufts is going to watch very closely.
It's all incredibly close as the first 5 swimmers are within a body length of each other. As we approach the halfway point of this race.
So Ethan, how much harder would you say the second half of the race is compared to the first?
It's always hard to dig deep in these races, especially long distance. You gotta find the energy to try and keep up that pace that you kept in the first half.
Absolutely.
And certainly the ability to do that gets better with experience, as we see Zablewski sort of trailing off Lalime when we saw Zablewski with a strong performance in the 1,000 earlier, but not doing quite as well here.
Well, I'm turning this race pretty close, as you have a 1 and 3 currently places for the MIT swimmers. But we're going to see what Lalime can do here. It appears to be making some ground on the other MIT swimmer. In Edskis. Of course, it's always hard to get this crowd pumped for some of these distance races, just given how long they take. But you can see how hype the rest of the pool is, as both sets of teammates cheering on as loud as they can.
You also have to consider that most of these guys are probably tired from past events, including Zableski and Lalime, who swam the 1,000. It appears that Lalime has taken a slight lead, but he and 2 other MIT swimmers beside him are neck and neck.
Yeah, that's going to be in lane 5, Randy Wagner, in lane 3. On the right side of your screen, Luke Edskis doing well off the turn there. But Lalime just has, he has the support of the crowd around him, as everybody's yelling towards the end of this race. As we start turning in to that final stretch of this first half of the pool, as both MIT swimmers are looking to make a move here. That's Edskis and Wagner. Lalime falling behind. Let's see if he can make it up on this last stretch. But this last 25 yards, is looking very close. As Edskis is taking a lead here, we're going to see if he can get caught. But that leads for second, looking close too, with Wagner getting second place. As MIT very happy to get first and second place there. It's going to be a lot of points for them and help make up that lead. So in first place, we have Luke Edskis, the senior from MIT. In second place, you have Brendan Wagner with 4:45.26. And in third place, you have John Lalime. And in case you were curious about sixth place, that's going to be Tyler Tatro, the junior from Tufts.
Huge 1-2 finish for MIT, as they were once down 20 points and now should have made up some of that ground.
And our next event here today is going to be the women's 100-yard butterfly. And starting off in this first heat, you have Nicole Dundas, Hannah Lesser in lane 2, Emily Yuan in lane 3 from MIT, Sasha Fong, the junior, in lane 4 from Tufts, Jennifer Xiong in lane 5, and Bella Pernetta in lane 6 for Tufts. As they get on the blocks. And that's looking to be a pretty good start there from lane 5 for MIT. The freshman. But also a great start from Sasha Fong, the junior from Tufts, getting a pretty solid lead here.
Once again, from these tough swimmers in the lead, we're seeing a strong streamline as they push off the wall into these laps.
Fong doing well here for that lead as she turns around. And it looks like for the win, it's going to be Sasha Fong in lane 1 with a 58.96. In lane 2, for second, you have Hannah Lesser, another freshman from Tufts. And then for third place, Jennifer Hyung, the freshman from MIT, with a 1 minute, 1 second, .92. But now in the second heat for the Tufts versus MIT women's 100-yard butterfly, you're going to have Madison Wong in lane 1, Caitlin Isakov, a freshman talent in lane 2 from Tufts, Hannah Mahaffey in lane 3 from MIT, Amy Socha in lane 4 from Tufts, Kaylee Allen in lane 5 from MIT, and Camille Ross in lane 6 from Tufts. But this is definitely going to be a rather competitive race, excuse me. In lane 4, Amy Socha off to a pretty good lead here. But it's definitely going to be a closer race than some of the other ones. And in lane 2, that's going to be Kaylin Isakov also doing well. And Hannah Mahaffey in lane 3 for MIT also doing well. But Amy Socha off to a pretty good start here in this 100-yard butterfly. There isn't much room to mess up, and she looks like she's keeping her lead. But it's all going to be about this turn. As you can hear the fans cheering her on, Amy Socha looks like she's going to lead. But here we might have a comeback from MIT. As if Hannah Mahaffey barely potentially getting the lead here, as it looks like it's going to be Amy Socha for the win here, followed closely by the junior from MIT, Hannah Mahaffey. And in third place, Camille Ross, the freshman from Tufts. And in fourth, Kaylin Isakov, but another freshman from Tufts. But as our swimmers swim to the edge of the pool, now our next event is going to be the men's 100-yard butterfly. With lane 1, Nicholas Baginski. In lane 2, Trevor Sermon. In lane 3, Henry Hugh. In lane 4, Costa Camerano. In lane 5, Tim Crail. In lane 6, Christian Schoen. With Tufts taking the even lanes, while MIT takes the odd ones.
No shortage of seniors in this event.
Absolutely, even in the first heat. But it looks like for MIT is going to have a slight lead here. That's going to be Henry Hugh over Costa Camerano. Excuse me, in second place, you're going to actually see that from lane 1. A sophomore from MIT, Nicholas Baginski, doing well here. But Henry Hugh looks like he's going to take this win pretty convincingly, as they're all racing to the finish here. But that second place match is going to be very close to see who actually wins this thing. And that's going to be lane 5, Tim Crail, the senior from MIT. And to get third place, Costa Camerano, the senior from Tufts. And to get fourth place in this first heat, we have Trevor Sermon, the senior from Tufts.
Another crucial 1-2 finish for MIT, not what the Tufts men want to see, as their lead begins to evaporate once again.
Yeah, of course, both the men's and women's meet scores currently now are rather close. But for the second heat of this, you're going to have in lane 1, James Richardson from MIT, John Koster in lane 2, junior from Tufts, Sam Ubelecker from Tufts, the senior, Joshua Balby from in lane 4 from Tufts, excuse me, David He, the sophomore from MIT, and Lomax Turner, the junior, in lane 6.
Go.
And here you're going to have a pretty great start there from Ubelecker, excuse me. Ubelecker doing well, staying under the water well here, but lane 4, that's going to be the second, Joshua Balby, as they get to this second turnaround here. Let's see what happens in this turn. And it appears that Ubelecker is extending his lead over the rest of the field, but followed very closely by both Joshua Balby and David He. but we're going to see what happens at this turn. Of course, this race is crucial for the rest before we get to the relays and the medleys. But here we're going to see Ubelecker gets a slight lead. But for a second, it's going to be neck and neck to see who actually gets this. And for the win, that's going to be Sam Ubelecker, the senior from MIT, in lane 3. For second place in lane 1, you were to have James Richardson. And in third place, unfortunately for the Jumbos, we're going to have lane 4, Joshua Bowdy, the freshman. And now we're going to have a 10-minute break, and we will see you once the action returns. to welcome you back today to the Tufts versus MIT swimming meet. Currently, in the men's section, Tufts is winning 131 to 127, while in the women's section, they are losing 125 to 139. As you probably just heard MIT's cheer there, they are very excited for the last few events.
Yeah, MIT men coming back from a huge deficit before. Now it's only 4 points. The Tufts men still leading. I believe the women cut their deficit down a little bit too, but they're still behind 125 to 139.
Yeah, but as we've been saying all day on this broadcast, every point counts. But our first race here, or our first event rather, is going to be the IM, which is one of the most entertaining races to watch in my opinion, just because of the amount of diversity that you have to have in your strokes. You can't just be good at one stroke, you have to be really good at all of them. And it's something that's pretty rare to find, ultimately in college swimming especially.
As this meet is coming down the wire too, it's going to become increasingly important to win these events, especially one like the IM that really is emblematic of the team depth and quality over a wide range of strokes as the points become scarcer and scarcer by the event.
Absolutely. But this is going to be a very exciting race today. In this women's, starting off in this women's 200-yard IM. Of course, the IM, for some of you swimming amateurs, you have 4 strokes with 2 laps of the pool each, and it's going to be very exciting to watch. Starting in lane 1, you have Kaylee Allen from MIT, Lily Kurtz in lane 2 from Tufts, Kayla Holman in lane 3 from MIT, Emma Van Doyhoven, the freshman from Tufts, in lane 4, Madison Wong in lane 5 from MIT, and Julia Pichon in lane 6. As these swimmers are on the block now. And they are off to the races. Of course, starting off on the butterfly stroke, you have in the lead currently Kayla Holman in lane 3 from MIT. Of course, the Tufts women need to do very well in this event just to make up some of that margin. And this race for second is looking rather close right now, with Holman having a half a body lead. But lane 5 for MIT there does well to keep up that lead. Madison Wong, the freshman, try to challenge. But you also see out wide in lane 6, Julia Pichon from Tufts also doing well. As they turn around now on the backstroke. As they continue to swim well on this pool, or in this pool rather. MIT still leading 1-2 as they turn around, moving into the breaststroke. MIT still 1-2, currently leading. It's going to be Kayla Holman in lane 3 and Madison Wong in second in lane 5. But this battle for third is also close between the two tough swimmers, with Julia Pichon in 6 and Emma Voinhoven in lane 5. But Holman looks like she's going to do very well here.
This is likely going to be a back and forth event, as the strengths of the different swimmers are certainly going to be highlighted, and it is a close race.
As Van Doyhoven is doing very well here to keep moving. As we move into the freestyle, looks like Tufts is now into the 2 and 3 positions. Doing well here. But Holman still keeping her lead in this first heat of the 200 IM. As Holman looks like she's going to swim to victory here. Followed closely by Emma Van Doyhoven. And then a third place, we're going to see if Pichon and Juliet, rather, can keep her lead, and looks like she does for third. So Tufts is going to get that 2-3, but for first place, it's going to be Kayla Holman the senior from MIT, getting the win here and scoring some crucial points for MIT. Or rather, putting MIT in a good position coming into the second heat. But in lane heat 2, rather, you have Laura Rosado from MIT in lane 1, Abby Close from Tufts in lane 2, Hannah Mahaffey in lane 3, Grace Gotchis in lane 4, Angela Zhang in lane 5, and Chloe Davini, the freshman from Tufts, in lane 6. Of course, all these swimmers who've no doubt been practicing this entire season, building up to this moment. Of course, very excited for this crosstown rivalry. As they are off. And that's looking like a good start from lane 2, or lane 3 and 5, which is going to be Hannah Mahaffey and Angela Zhang. So they turn around here. Also doing well is lane 2, Abby Klaus from Tufts. As Klaus looks like she has a slight lead over the rest of the field, but she's followed very closely by everyone. It's definitely a very close heat right now for the points. I'm trying to see how they do with this turnaround, moving into the backstroke. And in lane 5, Angela Zhang looks like she's doing very well in her backstroke. Also, so is Abby Close, but she's definitely losing that lead relative to the rest of the field. As Close does still have that lead, but she's also have a challenger from Laura Rosado in lane 1. As it looked like it's going to be a 2-3 for Tufts right now, but we're going to see how this breaststroke turns out. As Klaus looks like she has a slight lead over Rosado.
There was very little separation between the Tufts swimmers and the MIT swimmers heading after that backstroke, but it looks like there is a little more separation in this breaststroke.
Absolutely, you're going to have Klaus here still doing well off that breaststroke, followed very closely by Hannah Mahaffey and Grace Gotchis. But Grace looks like she's actually winning going into this freestyle right now, followed very closely by Klaus. Looks like Tufts could have this 1-2 finish, but this battle for third is also going to be exciting because you know Tufts needs every single point they can get. But it appears that the MIT swimmer, lane 3, Hannah Mahaffey, currently has that third place on lockdown, but we're going to see what happens and if all these swimmers can maintain their spots. But the battle for first is going to be very close between Abby and Grace, as it looks like Grace Gotchis is going to take the win in 2 minutes, 10 seconds, 0.8, followed very closely by and the 2:10.94 of Abby Klaus, with third place going to lane 5, Angela Zhang, and in fourth place, lane 1, Laura Rosado. Tufts doing well to get that 1-2 finish. Of course, it's going to be very important for them. Is it going to be enough for them to get those points and actually win the meet? We're going to find out, but it's going to be very exciting to watch for the rest of the meet.
As you said, huge 1-2 finish for these Lady Jumbos in the second heat of the 200 IM. So I believe a change in the entries has been announced. There's not going to be a first heat of what was supposed to be 3 heats. The new first heat is what was supposed to be the second heat.
But we're going to see what's actually happening on your screen here. They did announce that there would be 3 heats, so we'll see what happens. Given that 5 swimmers are going up on the blocks here, we're not completely sure what's happening.
So no MIT swimmer in lane 1 for this event. We see Sebastian Kai in lane 2 with a message on his back that said, "I heart mom."
Hey, we all love someone who loves their mother.
Yep, senior day is all about that appreciation for friends and family. And that appreciation even extends from the freshmen.
But we do have in lane 4, Tufts getting off to an early lead here. I want to say that's JJ Batt from Tufts, followed closely by lane 3 for MIT, Christopher Reinhardt. But this battle for second here is looking pretty close. Especially that battle for third that's shaping off pretty close right now between lane 5, 6, and 2. And it appears that the battle for second, currently chasing JJ Batt, is looking very competitive. Christopher Ryder in lane 3 looks like he could be taking it, but also Connor Doyle in lane 6 looks competitive as well. As you can hear those yells as that breaststroke swimmers come out of the water. But this battle for third here is looking very competitive as they move to the freestyle. Of course, the last of the strokes. But lane 6, Connor Doyle looks like he's doing very well here to maintain this lead. But this battle for second here, it looks almost like a 3-way tie in the rest of the pool. It's going to be hard to tell who's the winner. But it looks like JJ Batt is going to get this win. But let's see who gets these other places. It appears in lane 5, I want to say Jaya Kemphampty does well. And in lane 2 for third place, it's going to be Sebastian Kai, the freshman from Tufts. But as we move on to this next heat, not completely sure who is swimming, but we will let you know once we are completely sure. Of course, this swim meet is definitely coming down to the wire, as the score is still within a few points on both the men's and women's side. Of course, you love to see these closer swim meets, as, of course, Tufts' earlier meet against Wheaton last week was a rather convincing win that everybody knew Tufts was going to win pretty early on. But coming down to the wire like this and having every event matter really just makes everything so much more exciting. Also, there's the bragging rights, as these teams tend to play each other every year. And so, knowing that you're going to be the winner for next year, and you get to hang that over the heads of the engineers or the jumbos, respectively, is a definite motivator for everybody in the pool today. As we have 3 MIT swimmers getting on the blocks currently. In lane 3, that's going to be Brian Glatt, and in lane 5, I want to say that's Jake Shapiro. I'm not currently sure who the swimmer in lane 1 is, but we'll call it as we see it. But that swimmer in lane 3, Brian Glatt, who's did well earlier, appears to be in second place, following Jake Shapiro, the freshman from MIT, in this all-engineer race. As it's looking like a relatively close race in this IM heat. as Brian Glatt looks like he's doing well here to currently stave off Shapiro. And the MIT swimmer in lane 1 is also doing well to stay with them as they move to the breaststroke currently. As you do hear those little yells every time they go out of the water, one of the best parts of the IM in my opinion. As Shapiro looks like he's getting to the wall first, gaining back that lead over Glatt.
Lots of separation created on that turn as they were neck and neck heading into the turn. But now we can clearly see who's in first, second, and third.
As they get to the turnaround here, Glatt doing very well on that previous stroke to maintain his lead. But Shapiro looks like he has a multiple body lengths lead here as the swimmer in lane 1 appears to be actually catching Glatt. So we're going to see who's able to get second place here. Shapiro looks like he's going to take this one relatively convincingly. But Glatt looks like he's able to hold off his teammate in lane 1 as he's coming in. That's going to be Shapiro with a 1:58.53, followed by Glatt with a 2:01.38, and that third MIT swimmer in lane 1 with a 2:03.64. But now you have one of the most exciting races today, the 200 IM for men. In this finals today, you have Adam Janicki in lane 1, Nate Tingen in lane 2, Jordan Red in lane 3, Tartar, a fan favorite clearly, in lane 4, Samuel Song, who did great earlier, in lane 5, and Michael Gregoris in lane 6. Folks, we have some of the best swimmers in not only in the pool, not only between these two teams, but in the entirety of D3 here today. You're going to see a very fast race coming up. Ethan, what are your picks for who's going to win this thing?
I'm not sure, but the competition is even extending to just the swimmers supporting their teammates, as we just saw a back and forth of chants from both teams.
As they line up. And they are off. You can see Tartar off to a pretty good start here. He's our Jumbo's pick to win this thing. But in lane 5 for MIT, also doing well, it's Samuel Song, who did very well to beat Tartar earlier, I believe. A Song off to a good start. But in lane 3 for MIT, also doing well, it's going to be Jordan Wren from the sophomore. We're going to see if he can beat the powerhouse here. But this is not looking great for the Jumbos right now. In this race that they really need to do well in, they can't afford to just let second and third place go by like this. As Jordan Wren does well underwater to extend his lead over Tartar. But this battle for third is definitely heating up in this pool. As this battle for third is looking very competitive, with Tartar doing well. But in that 5th lane, Samuel Song making it very competitive. Tartar really needs to gain some ground on this breaststroke if he's actually looking like he's going to do well here. Because Tufts really need a first place finish if they can get it. But I'm not sure they're going to get it with Jordan Wren doing so well. Of course, you can see here how much everybody is hyping up. They know how much this race means in terms of the points. As Tartar does well off the turn to try and beat Samuel Song, but Jordan Wren also doing well to maintain his lead.
It really looks like the Jumbos are in trouble here as they cling on to a small lead in the scoreboard, but look like they're going to sacrifice the 1 and 2 spots to MIT.
And everybody's hyping them up to see if Tartar can get it, but it looks like Song's just going to edge him out, but we're going to see if he gets it. And Song ends up getting second place, just barely over Tartar. Tartar, of course, getting third place, with Jordan Wren getting first for MIT. So that is a 1-2 finish for MIT. That is not good for the Jumbos right now. That may lose them the meet. But we'll see how these final events go. Now comes my favorite event of the day, the women's 200-yard freestyle relay. The fastest, the one where everybody's watching, the one where everybody's trying their hardest, they're swimming their fastest, they're just sprinting as fast as they can. Everybody's only doing a 50, and it's just amazing to watch. But this is going to be a close race in this heat. Tufts is going to be in lane 2 and 4 with their D team in lane 4 and their E team in lane 2. MIT's D team will be in lane 3 with their F team in lane 6.
Oftentimes at this point in the meet, the scores are too far out of reach for the team that's behind to catch up, but that is not the case here for either the men or women, as both meets are certainly close and could go either way depending on the results of this 200-yard freestyle relay.
Absolutely, that first leg for Tufts in lane 2, that's going to be Jackie Crater doing well here to hold off that slight lead over MIT, but we're going to see if MIT can come back on the second one. Of course, these starts, one of the most important parts of the race. You just have to time it just right, so you're not wasting any time between when the hand touches versus when you can go.
Indeed.
And Tufts doing well here to actually make up part of that lead in lane 4. Currently, they do have that 1-2 lead over MIT in lanes 2 and 4. But Tufts there going off in near synchronization as they're able to do well on these 2 lanes here. But we're going to see if they can get this 1-2-3 finish in this first heat. But Tufts lane 2, that's their E team, looking to possibly upset the higher ranked team.
In this relay, we're also seeing different techniques that swimmers are utilizing to do their relay starts off the block. I've seen some with some adjusting this sort of incline on the end of the block if they want it in the middle or if they want it on the end. And we see that Tufts claims the first 2 positions.
Tufts beats Tufts by only 0.04 of a second. An extraordinarily close race in a relay. Given that you have 4 swimmers, it's often that leads are compounded so they're actually bigger. But it's great to see when you have close races like this. But moving to the second heat, this is going to be a fun one to watch, folks. Where you have this 200 freestyle relay. The last chance for Tufts to make back up those points. It's currently 138 to 145, I believe, where Tufts is losing by 7. But it is not impossible for them to make this up.
It all comes down to this.
Remind you that Tufts is ranked higher for their women, so it wouldn't be impossible for them to win this, but in fact, it would be a little surprising for MIT to win. MIT in lanes 1, 3, and 5, and Tufts is in 2, 4, and 6. As everybody off to a great start here, MIT looking for the win. They're currently in lane 3, Shannon Hagmeyer, the sophomore, with a great start. Followed pretty closely by Tufts in lane 3, as well as lane 2. With Ann Younger and Brooke Bernstein. Bernstein, of course, the senior, doing well. Let's see if she can put her team in a good position. As MIT getting off to a great start here, really expanding that lead early. Followed closely, actually, in lane 6, surprisingly, from Tufts. That's going to be Caitlin Isakov, one of the freshman phenoms here. Let's see what she can do in one of these shorter races. With MIT really increasing that lead and making it just longer and longer. You love to see it from the MIT engineers, but as a Jumbo fan, of course, it's going to be really worrying when you really need those points on this one.
Certainly in both of these, the men's and women's, the Jumbos will need first place to overtake MIT.
But this is really worrying for the Jumbos fans right now. They know they need to do well, and they're not quite performing at the level they need to. Of course, they are still in what looks like to be second and third, but you really need that first place finish. So we're going to see what these Tufts Jumbo swimmers can do.
That full body length lead is going to be very difficult for the current second place swimmer in lane 2 to overcome.
But oh man, this is coming down to the wire here. The swimmers are cheering on their teammate, but it looks like for the lead, it's going to be MIT getting the win here. Followed closely by Tufts for second. and also Tufts for third. So we're going to see if that seals the meet for MIT and Tufts, or for MIT rather. The relays are especially brutal with how they distribute their points. But that was definitely an exciting race to watch. Tufts did their best to try and get those points, but I'm not sure it was enough, unfortunately, for the Jumbos. Just too little, too late.
Even if the Lady Jumbos lost this meet, they were still nothing short of a strong performance, as we did see earlier in the meet, a record-breaking performance.
Absolutely, you definitely don't see a pool record ever meet.
Yes.
But here in this first heat of the 200-yard freestyle relay, you're going to have Tufts in lane 2 and 4, and 6, excuse me, also, and MIT in lane 3. As Tufts off to a pretty great start here in lanes 4 and 6. But MIT also doing well to try and bridge that gap, but let's see if they can actually make it up. And that's a pretty great jump from Tufts' lane 4, number 2 swimmer, Luke Icy from the freshman.
I'm seeing a lot of swimmers with a heart drawn in permanent marker on their left shoulder blade.
Absolutely. Now we have in lane 4 still in the lead. That's going to be still Tufts. But this battle for third looking interesting too, as Tufts looks like to take lane 6 on the outside for second place. But MIT has a slight lead for third as they still are racing. But we're going to see who actually wins this. This is going to be lane 3 moving on, third leg rather, as Tufts gets off to a pretty great jump. But this race for third is looking very competitive, as Tufts does appear to have 1 and 2 on lockdown, but we're going to see who wins this. Cool, of course, this race is completely for bragging rights, but we're going to see who actually wins this. Tufts looks like it has a slight lead, and MIT may actually get second here. And they do. That's going to be in lane 4. That's going to be Tufts for first, MIT for second, and MIT for third, Tufts for second, and then Tufts also for fourth. But here, in your last heat of the day, the one that matters, the one that everyone is going to watch, and Tufts men are down 7, but we're going to see if they can make it up here. You have some of the strongest swimmers on this event. Of course, everybody's going to be watching. Everybody's going to be cheering as loud as they can. I'm not even sure if you're going to hear Ethan and I, but you know what? We're going to be calling it anyway. This is going to be close. Ethan, are you excited for this?
Of course, you see just how much it means to these Tufts and MIT swimmers, as on both sidelines they're going back and forth with their chants. Doing everything they can to hype up this crowd at Hamilton Pool. Whole stadium on their feet. It's down the wire. Let's see what happens.
I can't say enough just how much this meet means for some of these seniors, and looking to see them do well here. This Tufts off to a pretty good start here in lane 3. It's going to be Peter Labarge, the freshman. It's always bold to have a freshman start off and get the lead you want, but we're going to see how they do here. As they keep that slight lead, as MIT in lane 3 appears to be taking them over a little bit. But we're going to see what happens as they hand off, or touch off rather, to the second leg, as Tufts has a slight lead over the rest of the field. Of course, the battle for third also matters, but we're going to see what happens with this 1 and 2. Battle for third, no one can tell who's winning. MIT looking good in lane 5, but Tufts looking like has a slight lead for first, as they're doing extremely well in the second leg to get that lead. That's a great swim from Tufts' second leg. We're to see how they do in this third leg. As they got off hard, you can hear the pool cheering, as Tufts has a slight lead, about a body length over MIT. But this third place finish is going to be very close, with lane 5 or MIT looking like it might get it, but also lane 2 for Tufts. But here, as we move off to this last leg, it's going to be very close for Tufts. Tufts has a slight lead over MIT, but it's going to be down to the wire, everyone. You're watching a great broadcast here today. But we're going to see. Tufts is doing very well to keep that lead. But we're all going to see how they do up that turn. Tufts is a slight lead. Everybody's cheering. Nobody knows what's going on. MIT has a slight lead. Tufts is going to win. MIT is going to win. Tufts is going to win. MIT is going to get the win to the dislike of the crowd. But Tufts does get second. MIT gets third. And oh my God, what a final race. Ethan, we witnessed history here today.
This was
I'm
an
out of
insane
breath.
final event. You can't ask for anything more dramatic than this. First and second place separated by 15 tenths of a second.
15 hundredths. I'm sorry, folks. I'm a little out of the breath.
Well, 1500.
That was a tough call. Of course, it's a little sad to hear these jumbos win, but you can't really ask for much more in a meet like this.
They gave it their all, and that's all you can ask for.
Absolutely. What a great meet here in Hamilton Pool. Tufts versus Hamilton. Tufts versus MIT. I'm sorry, I'm exhausted. But we would like to thank you for the. Oh, here are the final scores. Excuse us.
Tufts 144, MIT 156.
Tufts 144, MIT 156 for the women. For the men.
139, MIT 155.
Tufts 139, MIT 155. A very close meet today for both teams. That was great to see from both teams. It's always great to have that close rivalry between these two teams instead of the usual domination that both these teams face. But we'd like to thank you for being on the broadcast today and come watching our stream. We also have a basketball game going on between Tufts basketball for men and Bates, where it's apparently a very close match, or game, excuse me. But my name is Cooper Hansen.
My name is Ethan Grublich, and we're signing off.
Thank you.
Oh, bro. That was like a sick final.